Hello and welcome to the Stateside Soccer Show. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and with me today is Logan Stone.
We're back, baby. We did it, Jordan. Another year in the book.
I gotta change. Like my whole opening here because I was about to really, and I probably still could, rail on the Orlando City team for being so flat in the first half. I was going to come in here, and if they had lost, I'd be like, how do you look this poor in a game that means everything? And then they go ahead and win the game, which was big. They got some help with the handball that gives them a penalty, but the celebrations are going in Orlando. The team looks amped, and I got to ask resident Orlando City fan Logan here, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this was it was not a good first half. It was a really awful thing to watch as I'm sitting there watching on because I turned my NFL stuff on and it was awful. I was going with my team
at the end,
right? Yeah, that was not fun. So then I had Orlando City going. All right, well maybe I'll have something to be happy about later. But now that sitting here, first half was just atrocious. Second half we actually looked pretty decent, but again, nothing to kind of write home about. It's kind of been the same story for the team this year. I've got no confidence whatsoever going forward, but at least we made it into the playoffs. And I guess a successful year for Orlando, winning U.S. Open, and then also getting into the playoffs and maybe making some noise. So I don't know. It was a very underwhelming season leading up to the playoffs, except for the U.S. Open Cup, which was nice, but not feeling good, Jordan.
Yeah, it's not a performance that really inspires confidence, I would say, going forward. But they're in. Orlando's in. We're going to talk about all the Eastern Conference stuff. We're going to be live for the Western Conference stuff. If you are listening to the podcast version that comes out Monday morning, you're not going to hear us sit for 3 hours talking about the exact stuff going on in Minnesota, Timbers, all that kind of stuff. What you'll get is you'll hear us talk about the East as we're doing now, and then we'll kind of talk about the West after the game ends, and then we'll preview who's facing who in the playoffs and tell you when those games are happening. But let's look at the East, shall we? The Union needed to win to be able to stay top of the East. They do that. They beat Toronto 4-0 to be able to seal that, which they needed to do because Montreal did what they needed to do too. They won 3-1. So that is something that Union scored really early on. A couple minutes in, was it a minute in? It was very quick. We had 10 goals in the first 8 minutes or so. Something insane like that, but the Union are top of the East. They are in with 67 points. In second is Montreal with 65. NYCFC in third with 55. They got a win over today. And New York Red Bulls in fourth. They got a 2-0 win over Charlotte at Red Bull Arena. And those are your home playoff teams. Are the ones that locked in home field is Philly, Montreal, NYCFC, and the Red Bulls. In fifth place is Cincinnati, who really had to I think just draw on their in. They went out there. They knew what they need to do. They beat DC United 5-2. Brenner with a hat trick to be able to seal themselves in. They get fifth place. They fall just 4 points shy of a home playoff game this year, but it's their first time ever in the playoffs after 3 consecutive wooden spoons. So a big increase there from Pat Noonan and the rest of the Cincinnati team. Miami finishes 6th in the East and Orlando edges out Columbus to finish 7th in the East. And one thing we got to kind of talk about the deal, even though Orlando got destroyed by Miami 4-1 in midweek, how big of a deal Charlotte to game against Columbus and really put it in Orlando's hands. I'm not sure what the math would have been for Orlando to get in, because that would have given Crew 2 more points. That means Crew would have had 48, and then you would have had the win tiebreaker, I guess, still if you beat them today. But
Yeah, I think it came down to.
approaches it different that day. I don't know, but it would have been a little
Yeah,
bit deeper, I think.
yeah, I think it came down to if Crew had won that game, it would have been they'd have 48 points or no 49 points, and then we would have had to have Miami lose or wait,
You would have 8 points because
yeah,
they have 46, and
right,
they got a point from that game. So
right.
yeah, but you finished with 48 as well. But you have the win tiebreaker, I think. So you probably would have been fine, but scary nonetheless, right? So Columbus finishes 8th, just missing on a playoff spot by 2 points. And Charlotte is in 9th, New England in 10th, Atlanta in 11th, Chicago in 12th, Toronto in 13th. They had a lot of players out for this game, I believe, is what Bob Bradley said here. And DC United finished 14th in the East. So if we look ahead at the playoff bracket, the matchups we're going to have Eastern Conference, Logan, are in the first round, Philly gets a bye. We're going to get Montreal versus Orlando. Ooh, that's fun. We're going to get NYCFC Cincy. And we're going to get, well, hold on. This thing is not updated right, is it? Who's 6? Who's 6 in the league? I
It's
just said.
yeah, because hold on, I just had MLS open, I closed it, and then realized that BREP does not have it updated.
All right, well, I'm going to show everybody what this actually says right now, because this is why I was confused.
Yeah, no, it's
Their MLSsoccer.com bracket has Cincy as both the 5th and the 6th seed. All right, so this is gonna look. All the Cincy fans that think MLS is against you, they are. Look, they got you playing 2 games in round 1 here. Face the Red Bulls, and you have to face New York City FC. Both of them are in New York, though, so you just go right after one another. Who is the actual? What's the actual standings? 6 is Miami, so it should be Miami versus NYCFC, Red Bull, Cincinnati is what we should get. And then the winner of Red Bulls versus Cincinnati goes to face Philly. This is what I'm scared about. That's what I'm scared about. Union can handle Red Bull. I have no doubt in that. It's facing Pat Noonan and all the familiarity that they have with the Union and beating them in Cincinnati like 3-something. Yes, we would have the home game, but it is that's scary. If I'm a Union fan, it's like we got to hope for the Red Bulls to win this game, I think. If you're looking at it from what gives us the best like potential, you know. But what matchup stands out to you? We got Montreal, Orlando, NYCFC, Miami, and New York, Cincinnati.
I mean, I think naturally Red Bull and Cincinnati, just because Frankie Amaya is still with Red Bull, and I think there's some bad blood there. And Cincinnati, I think the way that they're playing Jordan, they've got a lot of momentum heading into the playoffs, which makes them very dangerous. Whereas I think the Red Bull in the last couple of games have not looked as strong as they had earlier in the season. So again, I think that Cincinnati's got a huge advantage coming in, even though it is away, and Cincinnati does typically struggle on the road as far as defending is concerned too. But I really like Cincinnati's chance here. Like I really do think that they've got the right ingredients. I think with Brenner having as strong a game as he did, along with Brandon Vasquez today, I think that's a huge plus for Cincinnati heading into New York. I think the Red Bull have an advantage in the fact that the Red Bull, I think, are obviously better defensively, giving up 13 less goals. That's not the correct math now because I actually have to pull up the other one. Hold on. Goal differential. So they've got 15 less goals than Cincinnati has given up. I think the area for concern will be, can Cincinnati defend? That'll be huge in the playoffs, because if they can't defend, you're not going to win in the playoffs. It comes down to that. I think the games are a lot closer. You're not going to have these breakaway games where you have 4 or 5 goals, which I think Cincinnati can be capable of at times. But yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to most, because I think, Jordan, what you said, it would be a really intriguing matchup. I'm rooting for the Cincinnati-Philadelphia Union matchup.
It would be fun, yeah.
Whereas I think Philadelphia is probably rooting for the Red Bull. to kind of pull through there. Just because it's weird to say that, but I think really, I mean, if you look at Cincinnati over the last month or two, they've just looked like the better team. They've looked like a team ready to kind
They
of
don't
fight
lose
for
a lot.
right. So yeah, I mean that's huge, especially against the Union, who they do tend to draw a lot, and you get into penalty shootouts. I've got a lot of confidence in Cincinnati's penalty shooters than I do maybe Philadelphia. I mean, besides Gazdag, I feel like Cincinnati has the big three. So I think it'd be tough. I'm really excited about that matchup. I can't overlook Montreal, and not so much against Orlando, but just Montreal in general. So any time that they play, man, they look like they're firing on all cylinders at the right time.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe Union isn't quite, but is they're no slouch. So
I want to share a stat. Going back to Columbus here, I want to share a stat from Tom Bogert, who just tweeted this out a couple minutes ago. The Crew have finished the season with 24 points dropped from winning positions this year. Not just in the last 90 minutes or like the last 10 minutes or whatever they were saying before, but from winning positions. If you just get, how many points did they finish short of? Two. If you just get 3 more points from those 24, they're in the playoffs. So this is their second straight year missing the playoffs. In February, we had, as the MLS unfortunate Twitter is tweeting out. If you don't follow this, people, I think you should. It's MLS images that preceded unfortunate events. Caleb Porter in February. I'd bet my house that the Crew will make the playoffs. So some
he's
problems
homeless.
there. Now I guess he is.
Yeah.
That's 2 straight years. He won the MLS Cup in 2020. So how much leeway does he have? Is next year it for Caleb Porter in Columbus? I know that's so far away right now, but just the disappointment that they've had this season. They didn't have the injuries this season like they had last year that we really were like kind of giving them leniency on. What are your thoughts? For me, I'm thinking, okay, we're not firing them today, but if we start low next year at all, like if we're underneath the playoff line in May, it might be time to pull the trigger, right?
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at now that you mentioned that, I was like, what would be interesting because you mentioned their injury history, and I know that Jonathan Mensah wasn't 100% playing today because he had some quad issues. But Jordan, I started looking at their roster and their age. So if you go through their matches played, Josh Williams played 23 games and he's 34 years old. Will be 35 next year. Pedro Santos will be 35 next year. You look at Eloy Room, who's going to be 34 here soon. Mensah, 32 years old. Darlington Nagbe, 32 years old. Rayon, going to be 31 next year. I mean, those aren't young guys. It's not like they've got a lot of those guys that are going to be around much longer in the league. So I think ultimately what this might have to be is a retooling of some sort with Columbus. And with this team, Jordan, I mean, they've tried it now with the same exact team. They really didn't do much. And this is something we talked about. And I know something that the national media has talked about recently because I was listening to, I think it might have been Extra Time where I was listening to it. And they said that if you look at their roster, really the only person they add from last year that was different was Cucho. While he busted on the scene and made a huge difference, I'm not sure that this team really added enough. I don't know. It's strange. It was like Zelarayan didn't have like the quick start that he usually has. And as he does get older, that becomes progressively more difficult. So I don't know, man. I think this is it for Caleb Porter. If he doesn't win it and get it in next year, and this is not a team. I think we kind of have that spoil of riches kind of thing moment here, Jordan, too, where like just like Atlanta, they've won MLS Cup now. Now, I mean, a 1 seed or MLS Cup or a deep playoff run is what this fan base is looking for. And right now, I mean, they're weaker than a lot of these teams. And that's not to mention, Jordan, that a lot of these teams fell apart at the end of the season. And the fact that they're still sitting on the outside of the playoffs as well is kind of concerning. So, because if Orlando improves, if Miami, which I think will improve because they're going to get older and mature, and I think Cincinnati will improve, that's 3 teams in front of you that I think are better teams than you already. and now they're healthier or more aged. And this is where it becomes tough for Caleb Porter, and I think this might be it for him.
Yeah, look, if they go next year and struggle with a full season of Chucho, and I mean, what else can you do, right? This is I see a lot of fans on the Columbus Crew um, tweet that says they're knocked out. I see a lot of Cincinnati fans trolling them below, and one of them is saying like, as a lifelong Crew fan, this isn't on Porter, right? Because they don't want him to get fired because they think that it'll continue that way because they're actually Cincinnati fans. But it's fun, right? But I do wonder how much goodwill does an MLS Cup give you? And we kind of wonder that in every sport, right? Like, how long is of bringing a Super Bowl, bringing a World Series, bringing something to a city like this, a title? How long can that give you before they start thinking it might be best to get rid of you? And I'm not talking to the fans. I'm talking like the front office to be like, you got me this thing that I cherish and it's in our trophy case, but it's time, at this point. And I think it wouldn't be a question if they were making the playoffs the last 2 years and maybe not winning MLS Cup, but just make the playoffs, but missing it 2 years in a row, I think is where if I'm a Columbus Crew front office, I'm looking at this and thinking like I said, if we start off slow, it's going to be time because we brought you in new players. We brought you in a guy who's scoring goals like crazy. Chucho Hernandez comes in and scores goals. And you can't make the playoffs. That's fine. Maybe you didn't have enough time with him. He came in July, whatever. But if I give you a full season of him and we're in May and you're really struggling, we're probably starting the season late February, right? So maybe even April if they're struggling. It's going to be like, okay, we got to panic because we cannot miss the playoffs 3 times in a row, especially a team like the Crew, who are more usually consistently good, consistently in the hunt. I mean, I don't even let me pull up their FBref page because I want to see the last time that they like how they were under Greg. I think they made the playoffs, right? I don't think they were like terrible. How do I look up their placements? Okay, here we are, and it should tell me here if they're playoff teams or not. All right, so 2019 they finished 20th in the league. They finished 10th in 2018. They finished 5th in 2017. I mean, I guess I don't know. They're kind of inconsistent as it is as I'm reading this right now. Oh, yikes. Like, really, what happened in 2019? I don't even remember the 2019 season. I wish I could off the top of my head. Let me look at it. 2019 MLS stats. Who finished? Yeah, they finished 10th in the East. All right, what's 10th mean then? In 2018. Where's that? 5th in the East. So they made the playoffs that year. They got bounced out in a knockout round. And then so they went 2019, missed the playoffs, is what I said, right? 2018, they were in it. Then they made it in 2020 and they won it, missed it 2021, missed it 2022. Made it in 2017. How far did they go then? 2015, they were in MLS Cup. I remember that. Knockout round in 2017 as well. Oh, somebody's going to be chopping down trees, it sounds like. I hope my dog doesn't freak out.
No, that's not good for the Timbers either.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, let's move over to the West. Let's preview the West here. It's supposed to kick off any minute now.
Yeah.
But we're looking at the Western Conference. Portland, needs a win. right? All
Mhm.
these teams need a win, or can Portland take a draw? I tweeted it out earlier. Let me find it again.
Yeah, let's go find the scenarios just so that we. Where are they? There we
I
are.
tweeted this
I got it.
out this
So
morning.
playoffs, Portland needs. Okay, so Portland needs a win or a tie.
Okay.
Minnesota needs a win or a tie, and then okay, that's easy to remember. And then RSL and Vancouver need to win. So, all right, that makes
And the
sense.
games have kicked off. We are
We
here 20 seconds in.
got some dual screen action.
Yeah, I have one on my actual TV and one on my computer.
When people are watching, like as far as fans, I wonder if they like. Do you get nervous around like playoff time? Because I know I get a heightened sense of like anxiety when I'm watching.
It
Just
depends on
at times.
it depends on the sport. If my team's not in it, I'm really relaxed.
Yeah,
Yesterday's baseball games were awesome.
yeah, yeah,
but, but I know that like yeah, when the Ravens are in the playoffs, when
yeah.
the Orioles are in the playoffs, when the Union are in the playoffs, it is nerve-wracking. I'm usually even more focused on the game. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like there's sometimes where when I'm like watching a game or whatever, if I'll just be like, okay, let me check Twitter. Like during the playoffs, it's like none of that if it's my team playing. I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat on my couch, like, oh my God, like I'm totally enthralled. I'm just like hanging on every play, no
Yeah,
matter what sport it is, if my team's in there. And uh it's nerve wracking, man.
yeah. And I think
And
it's
I'm sure these fans that were watching Portland, Salt Lake, Minnesota, Vancouver, they're feeling the same way today. Today's a playoff game.
mm,
Today's a you gotta win or you're in, really,
yeah,
for all four of these. While some of them can take draws, you want to go out there and win and put a stamp on it before the season ends.
yeah. I feel like, especially with soccer, I feel like, especially when it's 0-0 or it's still it's level. I feel like it's a at any moment the tide can change like that. Oh, what just happened? It doesn't help that we don't have the offsides. Really? I didn't see
No
that.
goal. RSL had it in the
Man,
back of the net, but they are offside. Wow. Could you imagine the start that would be for RSL?
okay.
I would claim that I had helped them
Make the
by
playoffs.
being there this year.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
curse is over. They'd
Let's be honest, Jordan. Since you left Salt Lake City, this team's been on a historical rate of dropping through the standings.
yes, yeah. So hey, that means that they should want me back, right? Like they want me back
Maybe
in Salt Lake to have it
you
go
might be
back
a
up
wanted
again.
man in Salt Lake soon.
But against San Jose, by the way, that game's meaningless.
Minnesota's atmosphere, though, Jordan. I mean, looking at the difference, okay, so Minnesota, very cold, I imagine. Um, RSL, maybe similar temperatures, I guess. But then you look at Orlando, beautiful weather. Everybody should be at the game.
Getting all
Complete opposite. Like the Minnesota
water
fans,
breaks.
right? The Minnesota fans look like they're going to bust on the, and it is a blackout in Minnesota. I did see that so the fans are doing a blackout. So that's why
Oh,
it
that's cool.
just looks, and it also like that'd be
Oh,
terrifying.
it is crowded there. That's
Mhm.
great. I love it.
But I mean, isn't it sad though? Like Orlando can barely fill a stadium, even on final night. Like they barely sold out the Open Cup
Yeah,
to
what is it,
win trophy.
Logan? We
I
talked
mean,
about it off air, but what are your thoughts here as we're on the as we're on air?
I think a lot of it has to do with just this being a very, transit area. Like a lot of people in and a lot of people out. It's a tourist destination rather than a lot of locals. But then I say that, and Orlando's more crowded than it's ever been. And I think we've got a huge international community. I just maybe it's that maybe they don't particularly like MLS. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a
But they
you know
filled it up before. They used to get
they
fans in
did,
there
yeah,
all the time. That's what
right.
my whole like. I don't understand what has happened now that they're good. Like they used to fill that thing up when they first got here, and they even got the brand new stadium. That thing used to be filled. I mean,
And Camping World used to fill up pretty well too when they were there.
And when we lived there, right? Like
Mhm.
when we lived there for program, like I saw people that was their first year. I saw tons of it everywhere. It
Yeah,
was everywhere, Logan. They had um like bumper stickers. They had
the
like car
magnets. Yeah,
washes that they're like, come out and like get your free magnet. And I'm not really sure what happened, unfortunately.
yeah. And I mean, and you look at Minnesota, which is a younger team than we are, and I mean, I'm jealous of their fan base every day. Although I will say Midwest has a much better fan base when it comes to pretty much every sport. I don't know if it's because there's just not a lot to do in some of these places, especially as the weather gets cooler. I
Oh,
know that
Salt Lake has nothing to do.
yeah,
I I was there. There's nothing to do there,
they have a mall.
unfortunately.
They have a really big mall.
They have an outside mall. That was cool with the creek going through it.
Yeah,
San
which
Jose
is
is equalized 6 minutes in. This is insane. That game means nothing, but they're already tied.
uh, who are they playing? They played Seattle.
Yeah, they're playing Seattle right now.
Yeah, there's just not a whole lot going on. I know. I mean, I think there's other things that can happen in the West, but let's see. I think, yeah. So
Maybe
if
just placement change, but both of
yeah,
those teams are knocked out, so there's nothing
right.
going on there.
I think basically opponents can change. I guess Nashville could get home field advantage if they win, and the Galaxy lose or draw.
Dallas is winning. Those Seattle goals come from Ladero and Abobasi.
Did Greg ever try out a Bobacy? I can't ever remember if he actually
I don't
ever
think
gave.
so.
Wow, that's awful defending. Ooh, Minnesota about got it there.
I got both on my computer now because I hate it keep turning to the left here.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I've got the iPad like right next to. So I'm just
I
like
just can't
glancing.
see you anymore, so
Oh, that's okay.
deal with that.
Yeah, there's not much to look at.
So currently, as things sit, LAFC first, Austin second, Dallas third, Galaxy fourth, Nashville fifth, Portland sixth, Minnesota seventh. Because both of those games are current draws.
Looks like Portland dressed for the occasion, though. Our favorite kits.
What are they
Ooh,
wearing?
it's the Rose City ones with like the pink and red.
I was gonna say that's not my favorite one.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's the least favorite of the bunch. I want to look at the lineups for Minnesota then.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to look at any of that. We were going too much on the East, but lots to cover here.
All right, so Minnesota, they're playing that 4-2-3-1. Dane St. Clair in the post, DJ Taylor, Michael Boxall, Kallman, and Lawrence across the back. Lud, Trapp in the defensive mid. You get Garcia, Reynoso, and Fragapane, and then you've got Amaria up front. I'm pretty sure who's that running around? Kallman? Yeah. It was just down. And then you got for Vancouver across the back, they're playing a 4-2-2-2.
Houston has scored against LA.
Ooh. Galaxy?
Yeah.
Oh, that does stuff. That knocks LA down.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what it does. That moves LA to the 5th and Nashville up to 4th. I think they just swapped places at that point. Jesus Ferreira. No, not Jesus Ferreira. Sorry, I was thinking Dallas. Oh, hold on. Dallas's goal is called off? I don't see it. I don't see them having them have a goal anymore.
Who's Dallas playing?
Sporting.
Yeah, it says 0-0.
That's what I have here too. Dallas doesn't really matter. I guess Nashville could overtake them, I guess, but that's about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but their goal, I think, is second tiebreaker at the goal differential. What the heck? What was that?
I'm guessing Dallas scored and then it was called off or something. I can't. It doesn't show. Usually, FotMob will tell you if something's called offside. I don't have it showing that on there.
Maybe the scorekeeper just got
Well,
trigger happy.
ESPN has Houston still. Okay, I was confused. I thought that was the other one I'm looking for, but
Oh, 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 that was close. But yeah, Minnesota, or sorry, Vancouver, Martins, Blackman, Beslenevic, I don't know how to say that name, Nerwinski in the back, and then you got Kubas and Tyber, and then you have Guld, how do you say that? Gressel, and then White up front with Vite. And those are.
so there you go. RSL only has one win in the last 10 meetings against Portland, is in 2020. And they only have 2 players with 3+ goals in MLS. Portland has 6 wins in the stadium of Rio Tinto, which is no longer Rio Tinto. That's crazy. That's the most of any team, it says here on the ESPN broadcast. And yes, the Dallas game is back to 0-0 on decision day on ESPN, it says.
Oh, was it Diego Chara that did not travel with Portland because he had gastrointestinal issues? So they said he was in enough pain where he had to go to the emergency room, so he was not traveling. And I'm sure Jordan will talk about that. I don't know when you want to talk about the whole Portland thing because we didn't really.
We'll do that at halftime.
Okay.
I meant to talk about it last week and we didn't. I just totally forgot. I didn't write it down on any of the notes, so I totally forgot. And then I'm like, oh man, we should have covered that.
It gives us a lot of stuff to talk about though for halftime.
Yeah.
It'll be because we talked about it. We talked about it some. I remember.
All right, they're showing us the Houston highlight now.
Yeah, that was really confusing for a little bit because Minnesota's wearing black, and I was like, "Whoa, wait, what?"
I think they were a little faster on it than Fox. Fox could not keep up with the goals on that first part of the decision day. Like they're like 25 minutes in, and they're like, "Here's a goal from the 7th minute of this game." I'm like, they all start at the same time. Like, what are you talking about? Just show them all.
Yeah, the only one that wasn't really close to simultaneously was Orlando.
Yeah.
For the hydration breaks and everything. They were running behind. Good through ball.
Stoppage time due to that. Yeah.
So, I just don't like when these things end in a draw to let people in. That's not as fun.
That what? That let
when
people in?
When they get in on a draw.
Yeah, it's over the course of a year though.
Yeah, I guess.
Did you see the Leagues Cup? No draws.
No draws.
Game. We should probably talk that at some point too, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it this week though. We got a lot going on.
There's like a really big tournament coming up in a month or so.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called. I think it's new.
You have to record your quizzes.
Oh yeah, my Sporkle.
Yeah.
Sporkle. Maybe I'll do that this week because I'm off Friday, Monday.
Nice.
So, 4-day weekend.
I have a wedding this weekend.
Oh. Dang. How are you going to watch playoff soccer?
I don't know.
During the wedding. Bring your phone.
It's Saturday at 4:30, and then the bad thing is it's local wedding. But Joy's in it, so she wants to get a hotel. So I'll be literally 5 minutes away from my work on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's not even like I can explore the area. It'll just be like, nice, I'm right by work.
I'm gonna go to work and look around. That sounds exciting. Um,
I already know my target near work so well. I can't keep going.
Otherwise, they're gonna really start to know my name there. It'll be like Cheers. You just walk in, and
Yeah.
everybody knows your name. Uh, Not a whole lot doing, man. These games are boring compared to the East.
Yeah.
Uh, Although I
The
will
goals
say
are in the
because
non the non the goals are in the games that don't matter right now.
right, I will say though because of Cincinnati's scoring barrage um, on DC, it wasn't even that fun to watch. It was just between Orlando and Crew. Then it was like okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's so fun.
Bad
Cincinnati
giveaway by the Loons here,
just really
and then a bad giveaway by the Whitecaps.
Arcel. Oh,
It's funny you mentioned Cheers. I actually like. Joy and I used to watch it a lot, like before we moved, and we watched it a lot when we first moved into our house, and we only had Oscar at that point, and I was like, let's watch it again,
yeah.
and I actually teared up at the theme song because I realized it was River's first time watching the show with us. And I was like, this is so lame, but I was like tearing. And Joy's like, why are you crying? I was like, it's River's first time hearing this song with us.
It's your kid, man.
Yeah.
Like until you have kids, it's your kid. So
Right.
naturally, anything that happens like that, it's in like Wrigley. I'm more than convinced that Wrigley's the reason why the Cubs won the World Series, and Minnesota scored.
Did they really?
Yep.
I must be way behind. They don't even have the ball right now.
Well, I know that's what's impressive about it. No, who was that? Was that Esprit? I couldn't tell. No, Fragapane.
Oh, here it is.
How about those Loonies?
Wow.
All right, well, there goes my prediction.
It's not over yet.
No. Let's see.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nice.
And also, John Champion just said no Merritt Paulson at the game today.
There's merit behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Wrigley. But anyway, no, I was talking. I'm being attacked. But no, Wrigley. I'm more than convinced that that's why. Oh, just their technical directors in the suite. That's wild.
Ned Grabavoy, yeah.
Yeah. I know. He's not a big Merritt Paulson fan.
No, he's not, is he?
I get it, Wrigley. I understand. He's awful.
Did you get Wrigley that year?
So I got Wrigley in 20. His first Cubs season would have been 2016.
Really?
Yeah, I got him in February, and I remember that because I remember watching spring training with him when he was little, and then I'm more than convinced that he's the reason why they won the World Series. Oh, I don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Okay.
This could go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin that for you.
RSL. Wow. So now Portland would be out.
Yeah.
And here comes Vancouver on a break. Oh, that was awkward. Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh. Was that his leg? Oh my gosh. I don't think I've seen that in soccer. Like I've seen it in football. That looked like it went the he's up.
It was really weird for like an attacker to have that issue as they're going into the box. End up making a tackle on the defender like that. That was awkward.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yuck. All right. Yeah. So what? RSL's in and Minnesota's in.
Yeah, as it currently stands.
No Cascadian teams.
Yeah, so this would put Minnesota all the way up to 4th right now, Logan. And this puts Nashville 5th, Galaxy 6th, and Salt Lake 7th.
I'm telling you, man, this is insane. I love MLS's website. So if anybody's watching this and wants a live table, FBref does not offer it, but FOTMob and MLS's website offer it. I actually like MLS's website better because it actually showed the teams moving. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Oh, really?
Because I'm kind of like watching the live table too.
Where is that at? Standings and go live table.
This is conference standings. I think I just clicked on standings and brought me
Oh,
right
okay.
to it. And if you scroll down, it has them.
Wow, so there you go. The goals finally happened in the games that we are paying attention to here, and now Portland is on a break, so we'll see how that goes out for them, but not well.
They can't catch a break.
Some rough playing out the back today, man.
Who was that? Was that Inter Miami that did that? Yeah.
Yes,
It
yeah,
was,
to Montreal. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. This week also Victor Wanyama was he announced that he would retire, right?
He's just leaving Montreal. I don't know if he said he's retired. He's only 32, right?
Really? I feel like
he's been around forever.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's just been around for so long. That's why
he came over young too.
I love that name too, Wanyama.
Yeah.
Oh, Minnesota.
Oh, the Mets starting lineup. Here we go. Nimmo, Marte.
Any of you East Coasters still watching? That'll be on right after we're done here too.
Yeah, and then I got Ravens Bengals tonight, so I'll be two screening it tonight too, I guess.
Hey, at least your football team still has a quarterback, like literally a quarterback.
Yeah,
we're down to our last one.
I totally get them being cautious today after the whole Tua stuff.
No, I do too. Yeah, no, I totally.
Yeah, we're not getting in trouble this week.
Yeah, because at first it was like the first thing that the doctors. The first thing that the doctors said today was like that it was elbow, but he was also being tested for concussion. After the first quarter, it was only head. It was only like a head issue. Like it was completely like the Dolphins were like, yeah, no. Mm-hmm. They said concussion protocol, so no elbow issue. He's fine. It's just head hurts. But Christian Pulisic scored, Jordan.
Yeah.
And had an assist. Brendan Aronson played extremely well. Tyler Adams about had his ankle broken.
He played pretty well too, Adams, but they ended up losing. So not good for Jesse Marsh and Leeds United.
PFOC continues to score. I mean, man, a lot of our
Pepe has been scoring.
Right. Ricardo Pepe scores. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of our U.S. guys, man, they're putting in the work right now.
Love it. That's
Matt
what
Turner,
you want a month out. That's what you want a month out from the World Cup. You want them to be scoring. You want them to be playing well.
Yeah.
Who would have thought just changing tactics at Chelsea would actually lead to more chances for any goals for that team?
Did Christian start?
Yeah, he started, and he look, here's the bias that everybody was talking about. He starts, he gets a few half chances that there's like he needs to score them. He should already have a hat trick, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what other player ever is supposed to convert every single chance?
Right.
You know how many times that like I see a player who's not American and they get a few chances and I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to get one soon. Like they're building up, they're getting their chances. They're going to be able to do it. And those are considered like good, chances for those players.
Yeah.
But yeah, he started, he had a great shot that was curling into the corner. That was a great save. And then he scored after halftime, which was needed.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a goal and assist in his 2 chances with Potter so far or whatever. So hopefully that gives him some more chances. That's all we're asking for. More chances.
Well, I mean,
he comes good on them.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing on them though. Like, this looks really bad on Greg. Like, I mean, there's a lot of it that has to do with how well they gel together, but I think this team could and can, given the opportunity, but it does seem like there's some hindrance in behind the way that they play. It's that style of play that he likes. I mean, this is a quick young team, man. I just let them out there and ball. Just let them loose off the chain. Let them, because I feel like possession with young players is just very tough because
Mm-hmm.
it takes so much energy and focus to really kind of nail that down right away. I feel like, man, with how quick Weston is and how quick Pulisic and Brendan Aronson are, with Weah, I mean, it just feels like we have too much pace to be sitting around just kind of possessing the ball as much as we possibly can. And there's just, I mean, there's so much proof in behind that. There's so much better running downhill at people. Like the way that Brendan Aronson attacked today, way better when he's able to just attack.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Pulisic, same thing. Whenever he's able to just attack and open up the midfield, it just makes it so much better. Tyler Adams is probably the best 6 in the Prem right now, which is wild to think that he's the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League right now. It just, I mean, that whole midfield is like our strength, but we just use it as our weakness, it seems, leading up in the attack.
It's funny when we were watching Orlando, I was starting to think they looked like a Greg team for a bit. It was
Yeah.
like just flat,
Yes.
no
Flat.
chance
Yeah.
created. It was very brutal.
Yes. Which it's the one thing
Austin has scored.
yeah. Did they really? Was it
Mhm.
Jerusi? I wonder what we haven't really checked in on the Golden Boot. Is that?
Well, I know after today, Gostag's right behind it. He's like 1 goal behind. So
Yeah, one behind Mukhtar. Jerusi needs 2 to tie Mukhtar. Looks like Mukhtar is going to win.
Jersey got 1 today.
So I wonder if these are live because it says he's got 21.
I can check. He's got 22. It says on FotMob, so I'm assuming.
Okay, so
it's not updated on live standings.
All right, so he could tie Hani Mukhtar today because Austin's not playing for anything. They literally can't do anything. They're really the only team in the West besides LAFC that can't really
move. Yeah, they can't move positions. I think we talked about that last week. 1 and 2 are pretty locked in, but we've already seen today how much that changes. Like on the West so far, with Dallas is pretty much locked in at 3, but Minnesota going from out of the playoffs to 4th.
Yeah.
And Nashville going from 4th to 5th and or 4th. I don't know. Galaxy was 4th, I think, and they dropped down to 6th.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then Salt Lake in 7th right now. It's crazy.
But I mean, again, then you look at if you look at the West, Jordan, 8 through 12 were all playoff teams last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. It's the craziest turnover ever.
That's good. That's what's fun about it, right?
Yeah,
what are we seeing right now in the Premier League? We're seeing an Arsenal resurgence, surprisingly.
Right.
But what we're seeing is City just going on another tear again. Mm-hmm. And, look over at some of these other countries where it's just, okay, they might have some upheaval for a month, right? And then they're right back at the usual. Like, how many times have we looked at it and been like, oh, Bayern is surprisingly not first in the first month of the season, and then, they win by 30 points, right? Or some of the Italian leagues like that, or the Spanish leagues. Even England, like one of the years City won it, we were kind of like, they had a really rough start on stoppage, remember? And we're like, oh, they're going to struggle. And then, they win by 16 points or whatever, right?
Yeah, because they won like 18 in a row or something.
Yeah,
stupid.
It's crazy. But this, you have people right now, Portland and Vancouver are out of the playoffs, but they can change that with just 2 goals right now and put themselves in a chance to win MLS Cup. But we'll see if that shakes out. Vancouver's got a chance, but comes to nothing.
Portland's chances have been pedestrian at best. Like he just pulled up from 30 yards out.
Yep.
That was Bravo too. It was a defender just absolutely tried to Joao Cancelo it and shot it about 20 feet over into the cheering section.
That's desperation, right?
Oh yeah, completely.
Frustrated. You can't.
Yeah.
Minnesota just gave a ball away badly here, but they got it back. Vancouver haven't looked sharp.
I want to just bookmark, just kind of like answering this question. Like, what are our thoughts on how much the front office doing this kind of stuff, infiltrates the locker room, so we can talk about that because I don't want to forget about because we'll talk a lot about
Oh,
the
for
front office
Timbers,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just how much this has maybe affected them and.
I
So
got
far,
Red Zone on my TV, and I got the stuff
I
here
was gonna say
now.
what's going on in the NFL. I don't even know.
The Cardinals are losing to Philadelphia. Mention that again, right? That's something that's reminiscence of yesterday with baseball. But
Right?
yeah, the Eagles are winning 14-7 right now,
Yeah,
and the Cowboys are beating the Rams
I was gonna say
with Cooper
Philadelphia's.
Rush as their quarterback.
That doesn't look
Joe
good.
Willis makes a great kick save to deny LAFC for Nashville.
That's a hamstring, whoever that
Oh yeah,
is. I don't think that's a cramp because he went right away. He was like, "Yeah, no, this is what the heck, Taylor Twellman? What's he doing? Whoa! Oh, University of Maryland Athletics Hall of Fame for Taylor Twellman, 2022 inductee.
he's a Terp, baby.
Don't call him that. That's not. Oh, you said Terp. Okay,
Yeah,
on the twerp. I'm like, well, dude.
no, he's a Terp.
Yeah,
A lot of great Terp players have become MLS players.
I really like Taylor. I really do. We got really lucky with the MLS group. Like, I really
Mm-hmm.
like them. I like Stu Holden. I like John Strong. John Champion's great.
John Champion is amazing, by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh, Jordan, we can talk about that, man. How do you feel about Landon Donovan getting some World Cup coverage? I mean, I know he probably won't be U.S. men's national team coverage, but
I love it. I there's a lot of people that I'm just looking at the 2022 class of the Maryland Athletics Hall of Fame. Is that the basketball player? Oh my God, that is that
Betty?
Rivas Vasquez? It looks like him.
Yes, that is.
But I'm really excited for it. I know a lot of people don't like Donovan on the people. I don't know. People have a weird relationship with Landon Donovan. I feel like in U.S. soccer for whatever reason. He's my
I feel
hero.
like who was it? Klinsman that really, or was that Jurgen Klinsman?
Yes, I feel like if you're a Klinsman stan, you're
Yeah,
probably a fan of
what he did.
what he did. But we talk about how much mental health matters, right? And then
Yeah.
when he needed to take a step away from mental health,
Mhm.
people get on him. I mean, I don't. That just seems kind of hypocritical.
Do you think in this climate today that it would have been a totally different reaction? Because I do feel like even though it's been what was that 24 to
Yeah,
2014,
8 years.
I feel like a lot has progressed in 8 years on mental health.
I think gotten a better reception, but I
Yeah,
know like the hardcore Twitter fans would probably still not let it go. I would think, right?
yeah, yeah.
But
No, I
I'm happy he's going to be commentating on the World Cup in some facility, in some um, some way at
yeah.
least. But overall, not like a really strong broadcast crew like they used to have. LA Galaxy have come back and scored 2 goals, by the way, out of nowhere.
So now that puts them.
Chicharito and
Oh no,
Puig.
now they're up
Yeah,
fourth again.
31 and 32nd minute. That's pretty crazy.
So they now have home field advantage.
So as it stands, we have LAFC, Austin, Dallas, Galaxy, Minnesota, Nashville, RSL. So it kind of switched LA and Nashville.
Mm-hmm. Which that's big. Like if you get Nashville on the road, I feel like it's. I mean, they had the same record on the road as they did away, but I just feel like in a playoff atmosphere, I wouldn't want to play Nashville at home.
Yeah, because they got a pretty good fan base.
Right. I'm just thinking about the fan bases that in a playoff atmosphere, it would just be miserable to play there. Philadelphia would not be fun. Montreal definitely would not be fun. Man, talk about two fan bases that are nuts in the East.
Yeah.
Providence Park's not fun to play in, but they don't have to worry about that.
Orlando's lucky they're not at home because they don't play well at home, and they also
Don't
don't
have
have fans
fans.
show up at home. Yeah.
I think there might be more Orlando fans that show up in Montreal than there are at the games in Orlando.
Maybe.
We have more British fans, I think, than we have American fans.
I don't get it, man.
It is wild to me, though. When I do go to the stadium, I will say a majority of the fans that are there are Brazilian fans. Like we have a huge Brazilian population here in Orlando.
Yeah.
And because they were owned by Brazilians before the Wilf family stepped in. But it was them. We have a huge Puerto Rican fan base as well. So I know it was heavily Brazilian, Puerto Rican, Colombian. I know there's a big Colombian part of the fan group, which is fantastic. So it is very international. And honestly, Jordan, it probably is less American fans than probably any other fan base, to be honest with you. It's not. There's not.
I think Montreal and Toronto have less American fans.
You might be correct on that instance.
They do Vancouver.
I will say though, if you're upper New York or in that area, you could be a Toronto fan, I guess. Unless you wanted to be.
I guess if you're like Buffalo area.
I mean, why would you want to watch NYC play in New Jersey? Like they just.
All right, there's LA's first goal. They're showing it on ESPN, and then here comes the second one.
That was Chicharito. Hey, that'd be fun, man. Could you imagine if Chicharito goes on a playoff tear?
Yeah,
fantastic. Because he scored in a couple of games here recently. Oh yeah, we have to put in our coach of the regular season. Do they do coach of the year before the playoffs for MLS? Or is that after? Is it before?
No, they do it before.
Okay, so
I think they announce it during the playoffs, but I don't know if they.
I think you're right. I think they do it in between. I think they did it in like a halftime last year or something like that.
I don't remember. Oh, he just lost the ball awkwardly. I don't know what that was.
Portland. I'm telling you, man, Portland. There's times where they just look stagnant in the attack.
That pass was bad. I mean.
Oh,
it should have been a through ball, and it goes over to the corner. You're pulling him away from where he's supposed to be going. It's crazy that we're already almost to halftime. I feel like this is flying by. There's McMath, former Terp. Move the live standings off of there. Jeez whiz. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
In Minnesota, Vancouver, they had the live standings on the screen, and then the ball gets passed to a player who's behind the live standings thing, and you could not see what was going on with the ball. It's like, remove the live standings, please. I want to see what's going on. Dallas has now scored. Legit. So we got 2 games scoreless. Austin, Austin, that goal got called off, I guess. So Austin is scoreless, and so is LAFC Nashville.
Which means Hani Mukhtar is going to win Golden Boot.
Maybe.
Unless Jerussi goes for a hat trick. Or ties it. It'd be co-boots or goal boots. I don't know. How does that work? Doesn't it go to assist then?
Yeah, it should go assists.
So that would be full assist list. Did you know that Kai Wagner is third in the assist race? That's insane.
Well, because they do hockey assists.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So the secondary team. That's why he has so many, yeah.
I was like, Pep would love him playing.
Most leagues don't count that, but MLS does, which is fine with me. I saw some people complaining about that. It's whatever.
So Hani would win in a tie.
Yeah, they should. He should.
So is he MVP?
Pretty close, right? It's him. I still don't know why people would just write off Gazdag. I mean, he's got 10 assists and 20 goals this year on a team that is top of the East. But I mean, he is important, right?
Mm.
But yeah, I guess I would probably lean Mukhtar at this rate.
Um, I will say to kind of put on Gozdog's resume, I think they said that this Philadelphia Union team is top like 5 in history or in history as far
In his
as
story,
story. I don't know how to speak today. It's top 5 or top 10 historically as far as goals are given.
wow.
I can't remember what the stat was, but they were definitely a historic team, and I think they had a really good chance to become the most historic as far as goal differential today. I think if they scored 5 more than their opponent, I don't remember. Somebody said it on Twitter. I should be better with my stats there. I'm not sure Vancouver has 2 goals in them tonight. They just had
Doesn't
like
look like it.
at least Timbers have kind of looked threatening. I can't think of time. I mean, there was one cross just a couple minutes ago when Vancouver looked somewhat decent, but it's been a problem for him this year, though. 40 goals, especially when you give up 56.
Yeah.
Oh, this does not bode well. They're 2-11 away from home. 2-11-4.
Yeah, they need a win. That'd be 3 wins,
And,
right?
yeah,
Away from home, that's tough.
they just about scored there right when I was
And
cursing.
if they make it in, they're going to be on the road.
Right,
So
the
you're
whole
going to
time.
have yeah. So you'd have some problems there.
Because they'd be the biggest shock, I think, to get in.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was close. I think I just saw what you saw. I'm at 41-12 on the Vancouver game.
I don't know. He might have had a point there for VAR. I don't know, have captions on, so I don't know what they're saying, but he does get into it a little bit.
For who?
For Brian White.
Oh, okay.
Because
yeah, that's a penalty.
I can be a spoiler for you. It's not.
Okay, in my opinion,
In my
that's a
opinion, it
penalty.
is. Yes.
He doesn't get the ball at all.
Right. They didn't even look at it. I don't think. I think they just waved him off, like, get up.
What are they looking at? That's late. It's high. I mean, I don't know. For me, that's a penalty. I don't know what anybody else is looking at, but what's the reaction on Twitter for that?
Let's go look. See if they're saying anything. Oh, sorry, that was not recent. Joseph Martinez
gotta find somebody talking about it.
Joseph Martinez told them to talk to the coach. He didn't want to talk to anybody today.
Really? Did he play?
I don't know.
I didn't see any of it.
I didn't really care to see him, so I didn't really look. Ooh, Wayne Rooney throwing some.
The fans are all behind Joseph, and I don't blame them for that. It's been an issue way more than him.
Oh, 100%.
So it's good to see that they're. What game am I looking for? Vancouver? Come on, nobody's talking about this? Do I have to search the hashtag? What's Vancouver's hashtag? BWFC, right?
Yeah. I believe so. No, every time I refresh Twitter, they're still talking about the Eastern game.
Here we go. Here's somebody who is tweeting at pro referees. What's the point of VAR if you don't go look at it on an obvious penalty call? That's a penalty. MLS is ridiculous. That sure looked like a penalty. That sure looked like a penalty. That's a penalty all day. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure some of these are just Whitecaps fans, but I agree with them. I think that was very obviously a penalty. I don't understand what exactly happened there. Can't even look at it.
Yeah.
The Tuesday baseball times came out.
Did they?
1 o'clock, Phillies, Braves. 3 o'clock, Seattle, Houston. 6:38, Cleveland, New York. 8:35. It says Mets at Dodgers. It's going to be Mets or Padres at Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the thing that says if the Mets win tonight. Okay. If the Padres win tonight, it's going to be 9:37 on Tuesday instead of 8:35. I see. It pushes all the times back differently. That's weird. Didn't think it'd matter. Oh, that was a nice move. The nutmeg. Back heel nutmeg through ball. Well, we're in stoppage time of both of these matches. Free kick to Portland.
Cincy fans, you guys are going to the airport at 7:15 to meet up with the team if you want. If you're listening, they're doing a fan meetup.
Oh, they landing in Cincy at 7:15.
Yeah. Yep. So if you want to go see the team,
where were they playing? Miami, and they're already where were they playing?
DC.
Oh, DC. I was gonna say that's a quick plane ride.
it's
I guess it still would be, but
it's like a super jet. Yeah, no, but DC would be what, probably an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, not far at all. They could just take the bus.
Yeah, that make fans mad. You'd expect them to come back on a plane and they roll up on a bus. Oops. Yeah, not a lot of scoring in these as much as the Eastern.
Yeah, well, all the Eastern scoring came from games that didn't matter as well.
That's true.
So. At least we got goals in this one early. That matters. Was it the second half where Columbus scored?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was first half.
No, they have scored first half.
Yeah.
Cruz scored first half. Orlando didn't score until second half. Teams just not being able to put teams away. They really struggled with that this year. That's why they have all those draws.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 Timbers players now that are. Who's that? I can't tell who that is. I better start pulling up the Portland stuff.
Wow, we've already been live for an hour and 8 minutes. That's crazy. It's flying by for me. I don't know if it is for you.
Yeah, this was a quick.
Fast.
Yeah, this was a really quick.
Minnesota player down now. Geez, both games are pretty much at a standstill with this injury stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Fans already headed to the bathroom. Oh, they call it halftime. That's why. It's like, where are they going? And now my other games look grainy. What the heck?
The ESPN 2 feed looks better than the Minnesota feed for me, but I don't know if that's just me. And usually the ESPN feed looks worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so Minnesota's done. That's halftime for Minnesota. 1-0. I'm still going on RSL Portland right now.
I was gonna say the injury time. I don't know how much time is actually left.
Yeah, because we're at 4.5 minutes after
Yep.
stoppage. It was a 2-minute stoppage. Oof.
Is that a ball boy? That
Yep.
was really confusing. I thought there was a fan, and he was just gonna take the ball. All right, halftime.
All right. I guess let's get into it, huh? Halftime. All right, so it is halftime. Currently, Minnesota and RSL are the ones in the playoffs with their 1-0s. If you're listening to the podcast version, you already know the end result of that. But we're going to be quickly talking about during this halftime period and during this part of the podcast, we're going to be talking about the Portland Timbers and Portland Thorns situation with Merritt Paulson and Gavin Wilkinson and all of that. Logan, what do you got for me on that regard?
Yeah, so a lot of it's been going on recently. We got a lot of updates today. I know on Twitter,
Yeah,
which
well,
was really
U.S.
right.
Soccer released a study, right?
Yep. And I know that with Alaskan Air that they actually tweeted it back on October 4th, but really more came out today in a retweet, and that's when a lot of people started to kind of pick up steam. So again, it was Meg Linehan, I think, that really broke the story when she wrote it last year. It was on September 30th of 2021 when the investigation came out about Thorn ownership, who also are the owners of Portland. With what was it, Jordan? It was the coach, one of the coaches having sexual relations with a player and also just kind of harassing them and verbally abusing them. Um, Multiple players were involved, coaches were involved, ownership knew about it and hid it. Was never kind of handled externally. It was more internal, and they, thought I guess they had covered it up. But more has come out, and I know there was a big report out that now said that what is it that he has to give up? I forget what it was exactly. I was trying to find the exact wording.
Well, one of the issues too was that before this came out, apparently Gavin Wilkinson was getting ready to sign another 3-year contract
Yeah,
with Portland. So what it shows is that ownership knew about it. They were turning a blind eye, and it didn't matter until the public found out that they finally fired the people responsible who hid this stuff. But it leaves us with the question, Logan, of Merritt Paulson and where he says that Alaskan Airlines, like you said, is pulling their sponsorship money. That's their biggest sponsor, and they're going to donate it to causes for women's in sports and sexual harassment, all that kind of stuff in the area of Portland. So they're still putting that money, what they say is to good use, to the community, but that they feel like, I guess, they can't trust the Timbers and the Thorns to do so, which makes sense. But we're kind of wondering now. Merritt Paulson, they said on the show, was not in our Salt Lake watching this game, but I think we both agree, right? He should be forced to sell at this point. This
yeah.
is not a good look for anyone, and he knew about it. He covered up. He didn't care until it made a splash on Twitter, right?
Right.
And that's the worst part about it.
Yeah, so both Gavin Wilkinson, Mike Galoob, relieved of their duties from both clubs. And this was effective October 5th. And then, pursuant to yesterday's news, that Merritt Paulson would step aside as Thorns related decision making, not the Timbers. As according to General Counsel Heather Davis, who had been named interim president of, I think it's Peregrine Sports, overseeing business operations for both of the Timbers and Thorns. Ned Grabavoy, who's at the game, will remain as technical director and lead Timbers operations, while Thorns GM Karina LeBlanc will continue in her role leading Thorne's soccer operations. So, I mean, I think because both of them weren't around at the time when this was happening. But I mean, I can remember too, right when I was getting into the league, like covering the league, Jordan, I remember reading or watching, I think he was with the Extra Time guys and he was doing like an interview with them. And I get, he was really saying all the right things as far as like social injustice and stuff like that, but it means nothing, right? That
It's what you do
now,
behind closed
right.
doors, right? It's
Yeah.
not what you broadcast out there. It's what you
Right.
do behind closed doors. And I think why this is coming out so much and, why we're seeing it as such a big deal in MLS too is
Hmm.
because he owns both teams, right?
Hmm.
This was just another Portland Thorns owner was not the owner of the Timbers. We probably wouldn't hear about this as much. But it's the same owner who owns both teams. They have that synergy. And the biggest point that I can find about it, right, that I can think about it is that is why it's getting so much attention, right? Like, I'm sure this stuff happens all the time that we're not privy to it, but we're privy to it now because U.S. Soccer is doing an investigation on National Women's Soccer League. Because what if, since we launched this podcast, Logan, how many scandals have there been in relation to this type of stuff in the NWSL? I can't
Way
even
too
tell
many.
you owners. What there was the Spirit coach, the
Yeah.
Spirit owner. There was the Thorn stuff. There's something with Gotham. I think there. I don't know. It was like Racing Louisville had something
Hmm.
in the well. It's almost like every team in the NWSL has some sort of shady history here, and the issue with that is that a lot of those owners own teams in MLS as well.
Right.
And I don't know how you fix this because, like you said, that they're going to say all the right stuff when they're in public, right?
Yeah.
But when in private is where we're finding out some of these people are just monsters when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah, you got no protection like for any female staff. And a lot of MLS clubs have female staff that, I mean, these guys aren't going to protect them. Like they're in it for the money, and if it means at the expense of something happening to one of the females on staff, then that's what happens. And it's always been a boys' club, right? I mean, I don't think, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there is a female owner in MLS right now. I could
I think so.
be like there
Not
might be
solo.
like yeah,
Not solo.
definitely not solo, but I can't remember if there's like a third party that owns like LAFC or something that might be female. I feel like there is. I feel like isn't Mia Hamm, I believe, co-owner of LAFC.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, because I know she did Angel City, I think too. But
And the Wilfs, right? Isn't that more than?
yeah,
Isn't that a
yeah,
family?
it's a family, and I think she's in charge of soccer operations. So, um, yeah, but again, there's female broadcasts. Like right now, I'm watching Kendra, who does Minnesota games. I mean, the broadcast side, but like those owners oftentimes own those broadcasts. Like the team owns those broadcasts. I mean, what tell sexual harassment in the workplace, or or complaints to HR, players that are going to be coming out as openly gay. Like what protections do they have for themselves?
We don't even want to get started on that. Did you see
Right.
the
I
Iker
did see that.
Casillas
Yes.
and Carlos Puyo stuff that
Yes.
was going on? That
Yes.
was messed up. And if people don't know, Iker Casillas came out as gay as a joke,
Yeah.
apparently, because the press kept matching him with new women
Girls.
every
Yeah.
week. And then, Puyo came out and said, like, let's tell him our story, whatever. So people were really confused. People were like, oh my God, Iker Casillas is actually gay, and this is
Right.
big. He's a big star. And then the tweet gets deleted, and we find out why, and it's awful. I just looked up I just looked up NWSL abuse scandal. Okay. And here's the teams that are associated with it. The OL Reign, right? Their head coach has resigned because of complaints of abuse. Gotham FC general manager had been fired for breaching league policy. Washington Spirit coach Richie Burke was accused of abuse. We had Racing Louisville coach Christy Holly had been fired for cause with toxic culture. We had the North Carolina Courage head coach Paul Riley had sexually coerced and verbally abused players. We've talked about some of this stuff before. The Portland Thorns had their issue, which was related to Paul Riley. And I'm just reading all this. How many teams is that? That's so many teams I just named off.
Right.
4 or 5 out of a NWSL does not have many teams. All right. They have I'm looking. I think it's 12. I named almost half the league with the scandals.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. That is, and that's why U.S. Soccer decided they have to investigate, because certainly something endemic is going on here if it's infiltrating the almost every single team in a league, and it was consistent, and it was mainly that we have to assume that stuff was happening all the time, and people just didn't have the guts to say. Well, I wouldn't say guts, that because that puts it on the abusee, but they didn't. They were scared to come out and say something because it could mean the end of their career, and it shouldn't be that way, but it unfortunately is that way.
Yeah, it's all money related.
Yeah, why do you think Merritt Poulsen didn't care about Gavin Wilkinson knowing this stuff? It's because the Timbers were making the playoffs a lot of times. And since he had this weird thing where like Wilkinson was part of both organizations, if you fire him from one, you got to fire him from the other. And I think he's like, well, I can't do that because I don't want to jeopardize the MLS team. And this is why this should be very separate. You can have the same owner, but I think you really can't have like the same hierarchy inside the clubs. Too messy. And the funny thing is when you're looking, and I mean funny, not like but when you're looking at some of the coaches I named, how many of them are also female? It's not just the male coaches that were leading this stuff. The female coaches were having some issues, but I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. There's so many issues within. And what I'm saying is I think this happens probably everywhere. That's not even just American issues. And I don't think it's just soccer issues. I'm sure if we did exposés into the NFL, into the NBA, WNBA, we'd probably have a lot of issues in these leagues.
Oh, we know with Dan Snyder and the Washington football team, well, now the Commanders, he's still in charge. And we've had issues with the Clippers. We had issues, I know, with specific women in sports and coaching. It's become a point. The NBA actually just had one where the Celtics head coach had an affair with one of the staff members. And people are like, well, they both consent to that. But I'm like, yeah, but that's to a point where like how much of his power
it's power dynamics that lead to like if she doesn't consent, is she fired? Like there's issues with that.
Yes. And that's always been people's excuse as well. Well, if there was consent, well, I was like, that's not it. It's while it might have been like translated as consent for them, it very much is the person's using their power to silence them anyway. So like I think that's a huge issue. And that's going to be
mainly
more
if you love each other that much, one of you quit your job, and you'll figure it out, right?
And step away from the team, like go to a different team and work for those coaches have plenty of connections, especially at this level.
Different sport in the area, right? Like she could have moved on to maybe another team, or he could have moved on to another team, or
I will say though, like they've got to figure it out how to. I think come down harder. Like I think they've got to come down really hard on these guys because there's going to be more and more women getting into staffs of men's sports or playing men's sports. So you've got to be able to come down hard on them. Otherwise, they just see it as a joke. Like they can just keep breaking. Like Merritt Poulsen really is not losing anything. Like he's going to get the same paycheck that he got. He just doesn't have to deal with the timber or the thorn stuff anymore. which is really shady. Like that is such crap. He's going to get the same. They're going to pay his salary with the money they make off the Thorns, and I mean it's just disgusting. I'm glad Alaska Airlines did come out and like redirect that, but still, I think, and that's tough for a business to step in and but I think a business can step in and really just do some damage. But they also like
Well, they did a lot more than I think anybody
any
expected,
sponsors ever
and
done.
any
Yeah,
sponsors ever done so far. This is, I mean, I don't remember when the Clippers racist stuff was going on with their
the
owner.
owner
I don't think
left.
it did. Yeah, he left. He was forced to
That
sell,
was
right? But
it. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody came out sponsorship wise, like we're not gonna.
No,
I don't think Staples was like, we're not naming the stadium
right.
after.
I think the only one that's ever caused a sponsorship like this, like a huge issue like this, I think was the everything that went on with Colin Kaepernick. I think that was the only one that like
The
people
most
were.
benign thing to ever
Yes,
happen. Yeah.
right. So it is. It's sad that like, and then you compare it to this, which is awful, like just horrible. It's not what a human should ever do, and they've all done it, and they hit it. So it's disgusting.
All right. Well, if you're listening to the podcast, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back on the other side of these Timber, RSL, Minnesota, Vancouver games, and we'll talk about who moved on. And if you're watching a live stream, we're going to keep rolling. I am going to take a quick break. I'm going to get a new drink. I have to get a package that got just dropped off, but we're getting ready to start, aren't we? I'm going to book it. I'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. I guess I can run it for a little bit. We are back. We just started halftime with RSL in Portland. 46 minute, just hit 46, and we are in the 48th minute for Minnesota, Vancouver. And so far, yeah, I do want to ask Jordan when he comes back. Just I think, I really do. I think that the things that are happening in the front office are also going to affect the players. I think there's a lot of that as well. I think there are definitely some repercussions on how the players react to their ownership being as sketchy and scandalous as this ownership team. I can't imagine these players feel good about it. And a lot of times, too, you'll see where some of the men's teams are also friends with some of the girls on the women's teams. So this is, this impacts the whole organization. It's not just one group, and this impacts a lot of people. And I think, I think the Timbers, I think a lot of their players will come out, especially to use this playoff as a platform if they do happen to get there, even if they don't use their platform to make things better for the Thorns players, because I think you've got to speak out and make it a task of yours to really go hard on this ownership group and kind of force them out. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't see any room or any fit for these people that are going to continue to do this anymore. I think you get rid of them. And I think the best way to do that is mutiny. I think you take the players that you have and tell them that, you refuse to play with people like this, which I think could end up happening. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, so far, the standings. I guess we can go through the standings right now. Let's see what they're doing. Schedule, that's not what I want. All right, so standings currently, LAFC in first still, and they will be in first because there's nothing that can happen with. Oh, RSL just scored. That could do it. That could be enough there. The Timbers. Oh boy, Jordan came back right at the right time. 2-0 RSL. 49th minute. So the Portland chances are fading. Wow. Again, the scenarios that are needed for clinching, Portland needs to win or tie, so they're not completely out of this. They could get 2 goals, but it's becoming harder and harder as RSL's made it a 2-0 deficit. RSL has to win, so they cannot afford a draw. And then Minnesota are in good shape because they are 1 up on Vancouver, and all they need to do is win or tie. So they look in good shape. But RSL, once again on decision day, solidifying their shot at the playoffs. So let's look at the standings now. Austin locked in at number 2. Dallas locked in at number 3, it seems, unless anything crazy happens. Right now they're up 1. Minnesota 48. Nashville 48. There's Jordan. He's frozen. Or not frozen. Did you miss the RSL scored?
I haven't.
You what?
I have them at 1-0 still.
Oh, well, you're behind.
How far
Refresh it. You really far. Like
what
minutes.
minute are you?
49. Almost
Oh my
50.
god, I'm 47.
Okay, yeah, it happens at like the 40 end of 47th, I think.
I'm gonna have to refresh this then.
Yeah. 2-0 RSL.
I can't be up. I can't be 2 minutes behind. That's not gonna work on this. I'm gonna have to refresh. I'm gonna wait until the goal gets scored though. I was like, man, Logan's really jumping ahead here, saying they solidified their spot when I see 1-0 still.
Yeah.
Seattle is 2-1 up.
But yeah, the rest of the conference looks like this. LA is currently sitting 4th. So unless anything crazy happens with, I think, wait, doesn't that says they're ahead? And can they not get? Or no, Dallas is tied. That's
why.
There
it is. Okay, I saw it.
So Dallas is still tied 0-0. That's why, because LA could technically take over the home spot if Dallas lose.
Yeah, I think Dallas had scored, and then
they tied it. It's SKC and 1. Dallas 1.
Did they really?
Yeah, if SKC wins, then LA.
Yeah, Legit had the lead, right? And then Zuzi scored. Mm-hmm. Okay.
LA can actually technically take over the 3rd spot if
Nashville scored. I missed a lot just going to the bathroom and getting a drink.
Yeah, you did. You really did.
Yeah. I wasn't even downstairs long. What's going on? Teal Bunbury just scored.
Lionel Messi joined Miami when you're gone as well.
What?
Yeah, I know. That's a lot. Erling Haaland plays for Inter now.
So that moves Minnesota all the way down to 6th. They've been 8th, 4th, 5th, and now 6th. That's crazy.
Wait, you have them in 6th? How does that? Mine has it at 5th, Minnesota.
I have Nashville in 5th.
What are you looking at?
50 points. I have 50 points. Nashville just scored, so they have a win.
They just scored.
Yeah.
Just scored. Okay, MLS hasn't updated it yet. So if they got 50 points, okay, yeah, they can't. Because they can't get into 4th because they don't hold a tiebreaker over LA.
Yeah. But Minnesota can get into 4th because they, I guess. Because they've been up in 4th at one point. No, I was just getting my package from the mail, which the Mole season 1.
Ah, look at you.
They took the original off Netflix, the first season. So
really?
I was like, I'm gonna buy it.
That's stupid. Not you buying it, but them taking it off.
Yeah, they had the first 2 seasons on there. Then they took those off and put seasons 3 and 4 on there. And then, for whatever reason, they took off the first 2. I'm like, you should probably have the rights to it because you have 3 and 4. So I assume you have the rights to 1 and 2. Like, what's going on? Which is sad because season 2 is nowhere and it's the best season. But anyway.
Portland. Oh, no.
Just lots of passes. Can't get anything going. I'm now at 53:08.
Okay.
Refreshed.
All right. Yeah. So you're caught up.
Here's the Nashville goal they're showing.
What the heck just happened? Oh, it's Bunbury. So I do want to see. I think they actually have the playoff schedule up, don't they?
I don't know if they have the schedule. They had
No, they have the times up though.
Yeah.
I wish they would tell you what seeds they were. But I don't think they can seed them until they know.
It's all the TV people choose.
But there's a noon game. So this is October 15th. They've got a noon and 3 o'clock game. And then October 16th, it's 3 and 8.
Oh, they're both Univision.
Oh,
You're killing me.
on what is that? Is that when's the 15th? Is that Friday?
Saturday. That's the wedding that I gotta go to Saturday.
Um,
I can probably watch at 12 o'clock. The wedding's at 4:30. I'm not in the wedding. I can probably watch 12 o'clock. I'm not gonna have the dogs with me. I might just either sneak back home or go to like a, I don't know if anywhere's gonna have it on at like a bar. But
yeah, you probably go to B Dubs and tell them to turn it on.
yeah, do you guys have Univision? And then so Saturday is the 12th and the 3 o'clock. 12 p.m. and 3 o'clock. Ooh. And Sunday is 3 and 8 o'clock on ABC and ESPN. And then FS1 has Monday, the 17th.
Well, we'll probably know these games possibly today, tomorrow.
Maybe by the time we get off of here.
Yeah.
They usually start telling us pretty quickly, if I remember right. But I mean, look, the Eastern Conference already figured out. They could already be having those conversations of like, okay, we want some Eastern Conference games. I'm going to pick this game, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's how they do it? They do like a draft. They're like, all right, Fox, it's your turn.
They somehow have to. They somehow pick it like that.
Yeah.
They I'm not
Like
sure who has priority. I would probably give priority to whoever doesn't have MLS Cup, because then they're getting MLS Cup. So I'd probably, like, if Fox has MLS Cup this year, which I don't think they do.
Fox does, yeah.
They do. Okay.
Yeah.
Since they have MLS Cup, I'd be like, all right, ESPN, you get to get your games first, and then I would let, and I'd probably give each of them an Eastern and Western. Like, I probably wouldn't let ESPN just take 2 Easterns or 2 Westerns, because I think a lot of people probably think the Western Conference is the prime, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you were having to be able to schedule AL East Red Sox Yankees playoff or something, you would want that game. So I'm assuming that's what they see the West as, because you have all the big stars with LAFC, LA Galaxy. You have some great fan bases with Nashville. Minnesota.
Wow. When MLS Cup is done, Jordan, will be 15 days out from the start of the World Cup.
That's crazy. We got to start our previews soon, too.
Yeah. We keep saying that. We'll get all the way to like November 19th. We should probably start those previews, right?
Yeah, well, we'll do one big episode now. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done.
I was going to say, how many groups are there? Hold on. Don't tell me. I want to find out myself. I think there's 8, right?
Yeah, 8 groups.
Okay.
A through 8.
All right. So I thought there was actually more than that. So it won't be as difficult.
No, we're not doing 32
season previews.
32
season preview again, Jordan?
Teams. We're not doing.
I'll find a guest from every single language.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start reaching out to my Iranian football connections.
Yes. Get our German connections in here. I could speak German to them.
Well, I was going to say,
I said Jordan.
Chuck Weekend.
Yeah.
I want Vancouver to score, make it interesting.
Yeah, that'd make it interesting.
Or at least
Portland to score too. Like,
yeah.
Portland scoring would make it 2-1. That'd be interesting.
Because all Portland needs is a tie.
I have a feeling we're locked in. I think these are the teams getting in.
Portland just doesn't look like they've got the interest to tie it.
They got a lot going on with their ownership.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, like, does this translate onto the field? Like, how much of this impacts the players, do you think?
You'd like to think it doesn't, but I'm assuming it does, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much. I'm not a former player of anything, and a lot of times, like when I go like play, like rec, like when I was playing my softball, like I didn't really think about my home stuff that much or anything going on there, so I'm not really sure how much it would affect you. I don't know.
I feel like the only time it would really affect you is the time you have in between You know what I mean? Like, I guess just the exhaustion of having to just always talk about it would be annoying.
Yeah.
But like getting on the
That's the thing
field,
too. Is like that's the thing. You're highlighting something very, very good there because like when I'm on rec softball, I'm not having to do mandated press
right,
after the game like they do,
right,
where they're probably going to get asked this question, and they're probably going to get asked the question of how did this play into your
right,
playoff performance? You know,
right. Well, it didn't,
uh,
but now I think it might have because now
yeah,
I'm thinking
it
about.
didn't,
Oh,
but I
oh,
guess I got to give a good answer here.
yeah,
Oh, that's a good ball.
that was a good ball. Doing, doing. It's like a pinball. This is not as exciting as last year's decision day. I feel like last year's decision day, man, we were like, because I think we had that. We had the Revs trying to break the record.
Yeah, we had the East. I don't even remember what happened in the East at that point. But we had the East, and then the West. I started watching it on
Mm,
like 4 screens here, and then I had to help Joy put up some sort of like shelving unit or something.
mm,
And I had to watch it on the TV in my bedroom while I'm putting up the shelving unit, and it was very frustrating. Or we were putting up, it may have been a shelving unit or the what's it called, curtain rods,
yeah,
whatever it was. It took a while, and I was frustrated. I'm like trying to pay attention to the games, and I'm like, of course, the West is where everything was happening at that point too.
right. Wow, a
It's been
lot going
fun
in the
still.
boxes. Yeah, no, it's good.
It's better than if it was 0-0 for each of these.
Plus, it was
Which
an
is
exciting end to the East because we just jumped on right when the East had ended.
yeah. Well, I guess we didn't really predict Vancouver and Portland just looking flat.
No way. How did you miss that? Oh my. Was he outside? Looks like he might have been.
I'm behind, I think. I'm at 61-30.
Oh yeah. He was oh. I think it would have counted had he gotten it. Yo. I don't know. I think Barr would have looked at that. Interesting.
Well, looked at what? I don't know what you saw.
Vancouver, what minute are you?
57-50.
What is
58.
it?
58.
58?
Yeah,
You're way
58:04.
behind. You're 5 minutes
Am I?
behind. Yeah.
What, on
Yes.
Vancouver?
Yeah.
I've like left it running. How am I behind? I don't
I don't know.
understand this.
I don't know. But yeah, I'm at 63.
All right, I'll press play. I'm not waiting 5 minutes to see what you were referring to.
So
I'm
Ben
just gonna
White
refresh.
was offsides, but he made a good run. I think maybe they look at it if he'd have made it, but he clunked it off the top the crossbar. It went doing and fell right back at him. But he almost I thought he was onside. I think they'd have looked at it again just to see. He might not have been, but it was very close. Doesn't matter though.
Dallas
He didn't
took
make
the
it.
lead.
Okay, so that solidifies them pretty much if they can. Right. Yeah, like that pretty much just that does it for them. Oh, come on. Thank you,
How did I
fans.
how did I get so far behind? I don't get that.
Maybe it like paused or something.
It never paused from what I saw. Like,
Or maybe it glitched out when you left. I don't know. But yeah, you were definitely 5 minutes behind on both.
it's weird. My screen never went dark. I don't know. It's a little suspicious. What did you do, Logan? Did you
I
jump
didn't.
5 minutes at a time?
Maybe. Man, RSL is just creating chance after chance after
Yep.
chance.
That was a nice one.
They look really good. I'd forgotten they're playing out Bobby Wood and Aaron Herrera.
Yeah, when they showed them sitting out.
Mm-hmm. Ball dasher. Is he yelling at the ball dasher?
Yeah.
Sebastian's not thrilled with the ball dasher. Ball
What'd
boy,
he
listen
do?
up, buddy. I don't know what he did. I think he threw the ball to RSL to help him, and Sebastian's like, "Don't do that." And he's like, "Why wouldn't I do that?
I'm the home
That's
team.
my
Yeah, what are you
team."
talking
Yeah,
about?
like, what do you do? What do you mean? I don't know how it works over here, but those are usually academy kids in England.
Yeah, I don't know how it is
So I
over
don't
there
know if
either.
they do the same thing in the U.S. with the MLS. Man, Dallas is a dangerous team. I think going to the playoffs. Like
Yeah, definitely.
I think they've got enough firepower up front to really do some damage. I think having Paul Areola, Velasco, you've got uh, Sebastian or Jesus. Sorry, wrong for. Like I never would have thought Dallas would have been a top 3 team in the West this year.
Oh, that was a nice try. Oh boy, we are barely has any of the ball.
It is wild looking at the live standings right now for MLS. Seattle's ahead of Vancouver in points, or ahead of them in the standings because they're tied right now in points.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess because Seattle's winning today.
Right. Man, Seattle was just atrocious away from home. That's what it was. I was looking at their splits. They're 10-5-2 at home, which like that's up there with like Dallas, like how good Dallas was at home.
Yeah.
They're 3-12-2 away from Lumen Field.
They don't score a lot of goals either. Their top goal scorer is still Rui Diaz with 9.
Mm-hmm. Only had 47 goals this year. When I thought they were going to be one of the best attacks in the league.
Yep.
Like you had Albert Rusnak, and I thought all of a sudden
they got the big prize though. They got the CONCACAF Champions League.
They do.
I think you take that and you say, you know what, we were the first team to do that, and then you say next year we better not miss though.
Right.
Right. Like that's how I would look at it.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. Like this is much more like we did something very historic this year, and unfortunately, I think it
took a lot out of it. Yeah.
Because I know it was beginning of the year, but I mean they really had a tough stretch at the beginning of the year. Like it was like when they played CONCACAF, they couldn't win. They started to kind of win some games there towards the end, but
yeah, because we always kept saying they'll be fine once they, are done Champions League and focus on the league, and they just never could get back into it.
Right. All right, we're in the witching hour when wins become losses and losses become wins. What a job that would be, huh? The whip around
Red
shows.
Zone guy?
Gosh,
or the MLS
crazy.
whip around guy.
This one wouldn't be like. Although I will say, if they played all these games all the time at the same time, like they do with like Champions League, then it would be wild. Because there's days on Champions League where it's like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, I think they would. Like, I don't think it'd be all like the exact same time, but like when we have those Saturdays where we keep having like, there's 4 7 o'clocks, there's 3 8 o'clocks, and there's all of those would intersect with each other for a while.
Stagger them
LA
out.
Galaxy scored again.
Portland's looking good.
Oh, off the post.
Oh man, that would have made you nervous as an RSL fan. Could you imagine if it becomes 2-1 and now you're just sitting there like it's just a draw, like that you're just hoping to avoid. So you're just like clinging on to that 1-goal lead.
Yeah, Portland only needs to score 2.
Yeah,
right? Portland can get in with a draw. Minnesota and Portland were the 2 teams that could get in with a draw. So even if Minnesota gives up a goal to Vancouver, you're probably like, not ideal, but we can still do it.
It's a lot of legwork that they have to do now. In 20 minutes, I mean, it's pretty. I don't know. I mean, it is getting
But it's
dark out
doable
here,
for
Jordan.
it's doable for Portland. It's not like they have to win. Like if you're
Right.
2-0 down and you need 3, you're gonna give in, I think. But you're just like, we need to score 2. 2 quick goals. Get one here, get one by the end of the 90th minute, and you're good to go.
I'm just afraid RSL just puts too many good attacks together to even. I mean, Portland would have to convert the next 2 chances they have, because I just feel like RSL's just controlled the ball in the box.
Oof.
Yikes.
Vancouver. It's crazy. These games are already in the 70th minute. What is going on? Seattle's in the 75th. How is that possible? I guess because they didn't go to halftime as late.
Yeah, probably.
But man, it's crazy.
Come on, Vancouver.
I feel like we just got back from halftime. Like I just came back. Like, how did I miss that much time?
Yep.
I feel like I went through like a time portal or something. While I was down there, and Joy was like, "When are you coming back down?" I was like, "I mean, it's literally halftime, and I still have to edit this
Right.
for the podcast." She's like, "I thought it was a live stream."
I feel like it is.
Like she caught me on a lie or something. I was like, "It is a live stream, but I got to edit this into a podcast." And Minnesota just almost scored.
Yeah, man, I just feel like Vancouver was playing with house money for the rest of the season. They're out of gas now. Could you imagine though if this had been at like it is weird that like it is almost like their playoff games, because it's like the better team ended up with the home games. Could you imagine if this was at Providence or like that one was in Vancouver?
And what does it look like in Providence when some of the fans are kind of boycotting?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be wild.
San Jose is equalized, by the way, against Seattle. I don't know how long ago, but it's 2-2.
Yeah. And I just want to congratulate DC on their wooden spoon. Yeah.
Cade Cowell just scored in the 75th.
He's got teams after him. I'm not sure he'll be around much longer. I think his move to Europe is inevitable. Yeah. Which is interesting, just because I mean he's so young and he's not yet proven himself here.
Yeah, I don't know if we can keep having them go over that early at times.
Yeah.
Right? We have like it was kind of like a Pepe issue where Pepe is doing well in the Eredivisie and probably is where he should have went to begin with. Instead of going to
Bundesliga.
Right. And a bad Bundesliga team.
Right. Yeah, a team fighting for their lives in relegation against, he's playing defenses at the age of, 19, that are just going to eat him alive.
Is the camera not even on this Minnesota game?
You're right.
It looks like it's going downhill. It looks like they're going downhill.
You're right.
Oh, we're running downhill.
Or maybe that's how loud that stadium's gotten. It shifted the ground.
Yeah.
It's not good, guys. Get out.
I noticed it as they're going like uphill. Like, we got to get uphill.
Well, no wonder they're having a hard time. It does look like they are running uphill. I don't like that now that you pointed out. It's kind of.
I don't understand why it looks that way. But you can even look by like what rows it's showing on the TV that it's not even.
Right. But it definitely, and it's kind of off center. I mean, maybe all Minnesota games have been like this, and we don't watch
Never
a ton
noticed
of them.
it.
Yeah.
Blanco coming in.
Sebastian. He's going to get out there and yell at the ball boy again.
He's pointing at him. He's like, look at that kid. No, he came on the field pointing. And I was like, it was right as soon as you said that. It looked funny, though. Like, there he is. I don't let him get the ball.
It is kind of weird to kind of like watch, like guys like that are like Diego Valeri gone, Sebastian gone soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have Wanyama gone. You're gonna have there's just these people that are kind of leaving these
Mihalovic
clubs.
probably isn't staying longer either. Like
No, he already
this is.
signed with the club. He already signed a pre-contract.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. But Montreal, like this is their year then,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
Like
yeah. Yeah.
Montreal, you got to win it this year because you're going to lose a lot of players.
Because we talked about that. Who else was leaving? They're losing all their DPs. I forget who it was. I can't remember. Somebody else is losing all their DP players.
Yeah, I don't remember now.
Somebody tweeted about it. Oh, Miami.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gonzalo's.
Pozuelo, Gonzalo, and what's his name's on loan, but his Rodolfo Pizarro's
Mm-hmm.
contract ends. So they get all three of their, which is great for Miami, man. Like, can you
Restart?
like, yeah, and not even like a full restart. It's like okay, we got our young group. RSL could have put Portland to bed. All right, 15 minutes, Jordan. Do you see this? Are these the teams you think?
What? I'm in the 34th minute. What do you mean 15 minutes?
Dude, I'm still watching the Eastern Conference. I thought.
Yeah, what happened there? I'm on last week. I don't understand. Yeah, 75th minutes here. We got like 15 minutes on almost both of these games. I think Minnesota's a little ahead. But yeah, I think these are the teams as Minnesota scores 2-0.
Yeah, does it? Vancouver's officially done. Because Vancouver had to win.
I can't see Portland scoring 2 in
14 minutes. It's just been one of those games for Portland though, where they just don't get shots on target. Like it just like they've looked a little better. I mean, they've gotten progressively better as the game has gone on, but I mean,
geez, that stadium is beautiful, isn't it? Allianz Arena.
Oh yeah, It's electric. Like I've always wanted to go there. Not when it's -30, but
yeah.
you're
Not when I can get frostbite.
Right. I can't believe they both went to that game.
Yeah, I know, that's crazy.
I'm not gonna lie though, like if you had tickets to that, like you suck it up, right? You go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You freeze your off, but
yeah, you put on a big puffy coat,
cuddle together and keep each other warm. Right. Hug. Halftime hug with your friends.
I was hoping. I don't think I'm going to be able to go to the
playoff game.
Yeah, they probably already sold out anyway. But it's what it rumor is it's going to be the Thursday the 20th, and that's just like for me to like get off work and drive up there an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much. If it's a weekend, I would be able to do it. Oh, I'll tell you, Joy, not a big fan of Columbus and Cincinnati both having teams.
Really?
Yeah, she said they're only an hour and a half apart.
Yeah.
Why would they both have teams? Why not Cleveland? I said, I don't know. They both have big fan bases, though. The Crew and Cincy. So I was like, we're an hour and a half away from both DC and Philly, and I want a Baltimore team. She said, yeah, but it's a different state.
Good point. That's a really good point. I mean, Miami's the closest one to us. They're 3 hours, which that's enough time, I think, in between teams. But I don't know, like Ohio, you've only got like 3 cities you can do them in. Nobody wants to go play. I can't even name it.
Toledo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was like blanking on Ohio cities there. It's running out. But yeah, I mean, Columbus has Ohio State, which I mean, it's college. They don't have any professional sports, so I think that's why. Cincinnati,
they're the Blue Jackets, don't they?
Oh yeah, I guess I don't consider
hockey, right?
Yeah, because I don't watch hockey. I guess I didn't consider that. They're pretty decent, I think. Maybe I don't know.
I think so.
Nashville's sports teams have all gotten really good too. Like their hockey teams are really good. The Predators.
I forget about the Predators.
It does sound
Not a
like the
city I usually think of hockey, Nashville.
no, yeah, no football. Yes,
You don't
100%.
even think of the Titans that much because they're not Nashville Titans.
Right,
You know, you have to think like, okay, where in Tennessee are they?
right. They play in Memphis. But
Yeah,
yeah, no. But I think Seattle's going to get a basketball team soon, like which is really strange to me
they
because
better.
they've moved them out, but now everybody's really mad about it. So it's like the first city ever that's lost a team and probably will get one back soon. Because I think they'll add two more teams to the NBA. That's my guess. I think they'll add uh, Vegas and somebody else.
I really wish Baltimore had like another sports team. We only have two: baseball and football.
And then you got like a city like Chicago or New York that just like
That
they
have
have
oh
every
New York
sport,
especially. New York
right?
has two of every single sport.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that. Well, I
They have
mean,
what? They
technically
definitely
they
have
don't have technically they don't have any soccer teams because they both play in New Jersey.
football with them playing in Jersey as well. But
Right, that's
they
true.
have they actually have like what three? They have three basketball teams
The
or two.
Knicks, the
The Knicks and
Nets.
Nets, right? Is there
Mhm.
another one or no?
No, those are the two.
Okay. They have the Red Bulls,
Yankees, Mets.
NYCFC, Yankees, Mets. They used to have Dodgers and Giants. Could you imagine having four
Yeah,
baseball teams?
the Rangers and they're the Devils play in New
Rangers
Jersey.
and
But
Islanders, though.
oh, that's right. Oh shoot, they got three hockey teams in that area. What the heck? Because they got the Devils or Red Devils, what do they call them?
Yeah, the New Jersey Devils. Yeah, so that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, Giants, Jets.
Like two of every sport.
Yeah, whereas my city only has one and a half. You put them all together. Like going to a Magic game is brutal because they're not Magic fans. It's like an All-Star game.
Yeah, they're
like
all
there are
visiting
Magic
to see the
fans
OG.
obviously, but like there's always fans. It's always like, oh no, we're not. We don't like any of these teams. We like LeBron. Or we like Giannis. Or we like. Oh, that's kind of the way this generation's going now. It's like they
Because
pick
they can
players,
watch any team
right?
on TV. That's
That's
why.
true, and that's very true. Because I mean, we used to. I mean, we still had to pay for packages to get out of sport or out of market teams. They can just turn on a streaming service now and watch
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. When we did it, it was like, like I think back in the day, right? Like when we were young, it'd be like
And RSL just sent the 10% on.
buy the DirecTV package, or you have to buy like you call your cable provider and say,
Mm-hmm.
I want the MLS package or I want the baseball package, and then they give you every single game on as a channel that you
Right.
turn on to.
All right. So RSL and
They're through
Minnesota
3-0. I take credit
through.
for that.
Yep, you should.
I was there this year.
Jordan, no Cascadia teams at all.
Yeah, and you know what? We have to give you some trouble here, Logan.
I know. I
Minnesota
understand.
makes the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens when you got a bunch of Cascadian teams that can't play soccer anymore. I mean, had Seattle kind of woke up and Timbers woken up earlier, and then they might have been looking. What if? But I did say that there would be no Cascadian teams. I don't. That was long after this prediction. But these two predictions really couldn't come true unless one could come true, the other one couldn't.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll take that one. Like Minnesota really did try to help me to fall out of it, but
Yeah, they really made it interesting at the end.
Jordan, I don't think you've been a fan of MLS since or I don't think I think there's always been a Cascadian team in the playoffs ever since you have started
Nope.
watching. No,
Nope.
which year was that?
I mean, I technically started watching in 2007 and 8. So
Oh.
I was before any Cascadia teams were in
Okay, so
MLS.
yeah.
But yeah, since Seattle entered the league, they had never missed the playoffs, which meant there was always one Cascadia team. Plus
Which
the years
is
Portland made it in. I don't know how many times Vancouver made it in. Not a lot.
yeah. It's just wild. We're gonna have no Peter Vermees, Gio Savarese, or Brian Schmetzer in the playoffs,
Yeah,
or
it's
Bruce.
time for the newer coaches to
Yeah,
kind of step up and show what they're able to do here. You
yeah.
know, coaches like uh, Jim Curtin's been at it for a while, but Pat Noonan, Jim Curtin,
Pablo Mastrioni. Like,
yeah,
is that? Wait, I mix them up all the time. Yeah, it's Pablo, isn't it, at RSL? Because who
I think
coaches?
so. He was at
Like,
the Rapids before, but I guess he is now at RSL, right?
yeah, because Rapids have Frazier.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
the head coach of RSL. You're good.
yeah. Okay, because I mix. I'm sorry, I do. I mix these two teams up all the time.
Me too. Same color scheme in the mountains. I'm
Yes,
sorry, I do.
yeah,
I mix them up sometimes too.
because I always mix them up. Todd Frazier, that's who does the Rapids. Todd Frazier. No, that's is that right?
That's a baseball player.
That's what I was thinking.
Leslie Frazier, right?
Not Frazier.
No, that's a football coach.
Frazier Rapids coach. What's his first name? Robin. That's it.
Robin
I
Frazier.
was like, what is his freaking first name?
Blanking over here.
Right.
Oh, this should be fun as we get ready to recap this stuff.
Yeah. I think kind of a letdown for Sartini though. Like Vanny, I thought for the Whitecaps, I thought he would really. I mean, I don't know. This team almost seemed too good to be true last year, I guess, because Brian White played so well. It's kind of been a regression this year. So it's kind of been like, man, and they really did. They tightened up their ship a little bit defensively. I thought they, would have an attack that would be somewhat productive, but they really just struggled. Their defense, almost last in the West too. Yikes! Oh dear.
Oh, Portland scored.
Could you imagine if they score
they
two
need,
more?
2 more here in 4 minutes.
There was some stoppage time. Maybe like 4 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Off a deflection.
Grab that ball. Oh.
Oh, this would be wild if they get out here and score in like the 88th minute.
That'd be great. Like, make it like a okay, we only need 1 now. That would really ratchet up the pressure here. But they just let it go out of bounds.
As I say, that's not going to help.
Yeah.
Sebastian's looking over the ball boy. You kidding me, ball boy?
Yeah.
He is. I was yelling at him. Poor
It's
guy.
like, keep your eye on the ball next time, maybe.
He's like, the ball's slippery. Now the field's slippery. That's probably your fault too.
You water the field.
I'm gonna push this player now. Dude, you remember when Justin Glad was at part of that Olympic team that was really awful to watch?
Oh yeah.
Like this guy's hair reminded me of Justin Glad, so that's why I'm talking about it. I was not glad to watch that team. That was brutal. That might have been worse than even watching this international window. Like watching that Olympics team was like torture. Mess up. Oh. Sartini looks like he went to the gift shop and stole a t-shirt and he was just wearing his t-shirt out there. Ouch. That had to hurt. Vancouver right here breaking kneecaps. Now they call them the Vancouver kneecaps. Dang. I was kind of hoping this game would stay tied. One of these.
Here you go. None of Orlando City's 16 home matches this season ended in a draw. 8 wins, 8 losses. Since the breakaway shootout was abolished in 2000, Only one team has gone a full season without a home draw in league history, and that's New England in 2002.
See, we are historic.
And Orlando City liked the tweet. What a weird thing to like if you're the admin. You're like, that's a weird stat that's not great for us, I guess, but I'll like
Let's
it.
like it. It's advertisement.
Hey, you're not going to see a draw if you go to Orlando.
Right, exactly. Right. It won't be boring.
We're either going to crap the bed,
right,
or score some crap goals, probably.
And RSL is moving on now to celebrate it. Oh, I thought they were celebrating. That's just the goal. I was looking at my phone. Sorry.
The Seattle game is over. We got 4 minutes of stoppage in Minnesota. They haven't said yet in Portland. On my end, anyway. They're at 89.
Yeah. No, I'm still at 89. Reynoso. Come on, Portland, score. Make people nervous.
I'm already nervous.
I'm rooting for chaos here.
Oh.
Really? Wow. It's always so sad because,
4 minutes. Okay.
There's so many teams we won't talk about until next year. It's wild.
For some of that, I'm happy. Some of these teams. Did you see Rooney's exit?
You guys better come back in
thank
shape.
God this season's over.
Did you hear what he told the players?
No, what did he say?
You guys have to come back in. You guys better come back in shape. Meaning, we're gonna run you to death.
Yeah.
Wow, Seattle.
RSL just had a chance to almost put it away here.
Seattle drew with San Jose. That's like a stamp to that season, man.
The Eagles are beating the Cardinals.
Are they in the Western Conference? I didn't.
Arizona's in. I'm glad they started doing decision day like this. Before they started doing this, it would just be kind of random games in the season. But doing them at the same time, I've been in the stadium. I've went to Philadelphia Union games where it's decision day, and it is just a lot of fun, scoreboard watching, and just getting the vibes of what's going on in the game.
Especially because it's that last game before you know where it gets real serious.
Yeah.
Especially when you're one of those, if you're a Union today where you just really needed to win, or what was it?
Yeah, lock up home field. So that way you know that you have the home field advantage going throughout the playoffs until, unless if LAFC get there, Union have the full advantage, right?
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, Supporters Shield, I don't think they're going to be there.
Right. Austin's 58 points. Yeah. Yeah. So as long as the Union get to the final and it's not against LAFC, they would host it.
And then if you're the Union, you have to invite Jordan Wiegand to cover it.
God, if MLS Cup is in Philly, I would have a ball there. I'd love to go.
That'd be expensive.
Not really.
You don't think?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, we're going to see.
More expensive than some things, but I mean, I've paid
You can be Todd's assistant.
$100 for.
Will Todd get to go?
A Ravens playoff game. Yeah, press. He should be able to get to go.
That'd be crazy.
But you're right. I don't know. He might have to file press with MLS.
With MLS,
because it's a MLS game, like a cup. Well, Minnesota, they're probably going to have all these national press there, but Minnesota has clinched a playoff spot for their 4th consecutive season, and it's their first clean sheet since July 16th against DC United, which is not a big accomplishment if you're, playing against DC, getting a clean sheet.
And there goes Portland, I think.
It's close. They still got a little bit of time, but he fell on the ball, so you would think that seals it.
Yeah, no Timbers in Seattle in MLS Cup final. What are we gonna do? Who do we put in?
Austin
Maybe
or LAFC,
I
I
was gonna say
guess.
Austin or LAFC. I really hope it's like Austin and Philly. I just
Oh,
think that'd be a lot of
that'd be
fun.
a ball. That'd be
Like
great.
offense versus defense, like attack versus just hunker down and defend. Plus attack.
RSL is in.
Fourth postseason appearance in the last 5 seasons, so they kind of doing the same thing. Minnesota's own there.
All right, I guess we should start talking about this. So we are back, and we are talking the Western Conference right now. As my dog is sneezing, not sure if you heard that, but we have RSL made their way in, and so did Minnesota, as there will be no Cascadian teams in MLS Cup or in the playoffs at all. We have LAFC a bye. We have LA Galaxy versus Nashville as the 4th and 5th seeds. They will go on to face LAFC. So if LA Galaxy wins, we get El Trafico right away in the conference semis here. If Nashville wins, we get a rematch of the game that just happened today, where Nashville can certainly beat LAFC. We'll see. Dallas hosts Minnesota, and Austin hosts RSL. So we got some fun matchups in the Western Conference. Whoa, again, which one stands out to you the most?
Oh man, yeah, these are really good matchups. I think the one that I guess sticks out to me the most would probably be LA and Nashville. I mean, 4 and 5s are so easy to pick just because they're the closest teams, I think, as far as
Mm-hmm.
competitively in the standings. But this one really is intriguing, I think, to me, just because, Nashville has always had a pretty solid defense, and LA, they scored 58 goals this year. So, and they do it in spurts. Like, I think an LA team like this is typically one that they go silent and then they'll score in bunches, which typically be, I guess, a hard thing to do in the playoffs. So I think LA would have a hard time with Nashville. Though they're lucky though; it's in Dignity Park, so I think they would have the upper hand just because they're playing at home. And like I said, Jordan, I mean, Chicharito has scored, I think, in the last couple of games. So I think seeing him
Yeah.
um, perform in the playoffs would just be a lot of fun. So like I'm rooting for him to kind of go crazy. A Hani Mukhtar, Chicharito, battle of just trying to get two really good attacking players into the mix, I think would be a lot of fun. But again, you can't sleep on Nashville just because I think Nashville can do things at times that shut down attacks and opponents. So that's
Yikes,
the
we
one I'm
missed
good.
this. There was a missed penalty for LAFC today when it was still 0-0 in the 40 at the end of the first half, and it was an awfully taken penalty.
Really?
Um, yeah, I
Was it
have to.
Arango?
It was hard to tell. I have to pull it a little bit better. I just saw it on the thing here. It was Rongo missed penalty. He does one of those like pause, skip, and a shot type thing
Yeah.
when he walks up to it, and it was not good.
I thought you were gonna say like a Panenka, and it was like
Mm-mm.
just floated.
But yeah, so that is what we are currently looking at. Rapids are not done yet. They just equalized in the last minute here. Who are they playing? Austin. So that game means nothing really, but Jersey had a penalty, and then the Rapids just equalized before we got off fine here. And LAFC is actually still going on right now with Nashville, so we can't lock it in completely. It's about to be locked in. They're in the 90th minute.
Which Western team are you most excited to see in the playoffs?
I think Austin, right?
Yeah.
It's their first year making into the playoffs. We saw Nashville in the playoffs last year. They're interesting because they'll be in the West instead of the East, and then next year they go right back to the East.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm thinking if they don't make it in, if they don't make it far in this playoffs, not a big deal. I think they'll have an easier road
Mm-hmm.
starting next year in the East again. it's a pretty juggernaut, right? Like some of
Yeah.
these teams they have to face the Galaxy right away. Who, to be fair, is a huge toss up of what could happen.
Right.
But then right after that, you would have to face LAFC, and then right after that, you have to face the winner of Dallas, Minnesota, Austin, RSL. So that'd be tough. And Nashville is what, the 5th seed, so they would need Minnesota to get through for them to host that game in a conference semifinal. Dallas, they would need Minnesota or RSL to get through. But if Austin and Dallas get through, then they have to go on the road again. And then they have to face a team like Austin or Dallas, which is realistically who it's going to be. I think
Mhm.
that is a tough road to go. LA, LAFC,
Yeah.
say Austin,
Right.
or even Dallas to look dangerous lately. Nashville's going to have some problems. I think Austin's going to be a fun watch. Let me see if I can find their head-to-head against RSL, because I thought RSL played them pretty well this year. I have to double-check that. So while I check that.
Yeah, I mean, out of the teams, I agree with you. To go from where they were last year to second seed, man. Could you imagine being that fan base? This would be like an extreme high. This would be a fantastic team to watch.
Okay, so the last time they faced RSL was September 14th, and they beat RSL 3-0, and that was in Austin. So it's not always going to be a replay, right? But if it is, that's what we're looking at. But earlier this year in RSL, it was a 2-1 RSL victory. So they've both split, but at Q2 Stadium, Austin is undefeated against RSL since Q2 opened up.
Wow.
And RSL is undefeated at America First Field against Austin. So they have not drawn yet. And they technically can, because they can draw and then go penalties. But it's crazy. I think that this is it's definitely going to lean into Austin's favor. I would assume that atmosphere is going to be nuts. First ever playoff game.
Yeah.
Second year in. Like, Matthew McConaughey is going to be there shirtless, banging on his drum or whatever. We're going to get the fans going crazy. We're probably going to get some woof in signs, right? Like, I don't know. It's probably going to be a crazy atmosphere in Austin that I think would be hard for RSL to overcome. So I'm really looking forward to Austin in the playoffs. Keeping my eye on Nashville, since they're in this weird predicament with being in the West. But I mean, teams that I would sell my stock on right now is probably one for sure. That's probably Minnesota. They went out there today when they needed to win. They did it. They have not looked good to end this season. And I do not feel confident, especially with how dangerous Dallas has looked. Let me see if I can find their head-to-head while we're talking here. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts on a Dallas-Minnesota matchup?
I mean, like you said, I think Dallas, and we talked about a little bit while we were doing the live stream. We talked about how the fact that I think Dallas could prove to be a difficult out just because the attacking power that they have that could get going and make them a really dangerous squad. You've got guys like Paul Arriola, Jesus Ferreira, Alan Velasco. 18 goals for Jesus, 10 for Paul, 6 for Velasco. I mean, I feel like they've got an attack coming from different directions. Playing at home in Dallas can't be very comfortable for teams that are used to cooler weather at this time of year when Dallas is not technically going to be a walk in the park. I think playing in their stadium is really tough too, because when they do fill the stadium, if they do fill the stadium for a playoff game, because they've had a hard time as well. I think they're a tough out. They're 10-3-4 at home, so an extremely tough team to beat. Have 10 wins, which if you're looking at playoff teams, they're second in behind LAFC, who have 13 wins at home. So this is a tough team, and I really wouldn't want to face them if I was Minnesota, just because Minnesota really has had a tough time with good teams, and especially as of late. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a good matchup. I don't think Minnesota stands a chance.
So I looked it up, okay? The last time they played each other was September 3rd. and this was in Minnesota. And we had a Boxall own goal in the 55th minute, Valesco scoring in the 56th, Jesus Ferrer scoring in the 58th, and a red card for Fragapane in the 69th for a 3-0 Dallas victory. That was in Minnesota. Now, if we go to Dallas, where they last played each other in May, very different season back then. Minnesota won 2-1.
Yeah.
In 2021, Logan, in October, they drew 0-0 at Toyota Stadium. And in June of 2021, they drew 1-1 at Toyota Stadium. So Dallas has not won against Minnesota at Toyota Stadium since 2020 in August. So different team, different part of the season. Dallas has been looking better, but just like historically, if you're worried about going in there and getting points, Minnesota shouldn't with how well they've played there recently. And actually, their last time they lost to them was in Allianz Arena. So a little different than what we probably would have thought if we hadn't checked that.
Yeah. So do you want to do like our I guess our predictions as well that's attached to the show, since we won't really, unless we plan on doing another episode, I don't think we'll talk until.
No, I think we'll do previews today. I like
Okay.
predictions today. We won't go all the way to MLS Cup. Let's just do for the first round.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah.
See who wins. See who does well. The game is not, the first two games are on. I don't think we talked about it on this part. We talked about it on, I think, the live stream, right? But Saturday, October 15th, 12 o'clock, Univision, MLSsoccer.com, and the MLS app. We don't know what teams yet. We're going to hope that we get that soon. Then at 3 o'clock on Univision, MLSsoccer.com, and the app. We don't know yet. Then we have two more games on Sunday at 3 and 8 o'clock. Those are on ABC for 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock for ESPN on the 16th. So I keep refreshing Twitter. I'm looking to see when anybody's able to report when we're getting those picks. But I have not seen that yet.
You know how it works with us. We'll get off here and then we'll retweet it.
Yeah, because we're not going to hang on here forever, right? So,
right.
Okay, so if we're going to make predictions, I guess let's go to the East first and write these down. Do you have the can you pull up the file and write these down in the Stateside Soccer Show?
Yeah.
Doc?
Yeah.
Okay. So who do we got in the East? All right, let's go back. We talked about this at the top of the show, but let's go with the 2-7 first. Montreal versus Orlando. This game is in Montreal. Montreal has been on fire lately. They finish the season with 65 points. Logan, that's higher than Austin after how well people had talked up Austin this year. Montreal finishes higher than Austin even. They only fall off 2 points of a supporter shield race here with LAFC and Philadelphia. I'm going to have to go with Montreal here. I think Montreal wins this game, let's say 3-1.
Montreal 3-1?
Yeah, Montreal 3-1.
This is I don't know if you said this as I was trying to type, but this is a repeat of decision day last year when Orlando bounced Montreal from the playoffs. I don't think it's going to go as well for Orlando this year. Just too many injuries. Robin Janssen out for the year, 12 or 10 to 12 weeks with a stress fracture in his foot, which is never good for soccer players. He was actually the longest tenured Orlando City player in the history of the franchise. Antonio Carlos will be back from suspension, but I just think it's just too much to kind of weather that storm. I know Ruan picked up some knocks, and so did Joao Moutinho. So they're both going to be kind of banged up coming into this main stretch here. Erkan Kara actually hit his head, and I thought probably could have been released or removed from the game for concussion, maybe protocol kind of stuff, but it wasn't. This is just a banged up Orlando City team, a team that really has struggled and against really good teams, especially this year. Montreal just seems to really be in complete dominance of form. So I think Mihailovic, along with your guy, I think just Romel. I think that
Kyoto.
it's too much for Orlando. I'm going to guess 2-0 Montreal because I don't think Orlando will score.
All right. I thought I'd give them a benefit of the doubt. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the. Can we go 3 and 6 next? I know you wrote down RBN Cincinnati.
Yeah,
so let's go just in order of seeds here. We went from the 2. Now we go to 3. NYCFC and Miami. This is a curious one because Miami's been kind of like they get blown out today. They blew out Orlando. They're kind of wishy-washy. NYCFC have been kind of wishy-washy recently as well, ever since Castellanos left. But I have to, in the heart of hearts, give it to NYCFC, though we have no idea where they're going to play with their home field right now. But I'm going to have to go ahead and give it to NYCFC, but I'm going to say that this one will finish... This one will finish 2-0.
2-0 NYCFC.
Yes.
I wonder, Jordan. They're going to have to talk to MLB. They're going to have to play their games in New York.
Well, they already said that it's probably not going to be at those
Yankee
stadiums.
Stadium, right?
It would be at Red Bulls unless if Red Bull also hosted, I guess. Or unless if Red Bull and NYCFC played each other and Red Bull host. I don't know. There are some contingencies.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be in Connecticut or something.
Yeah. But anyway, I think, I don't know. You look at this Miami team, and I do think while they didn't have a nice season, I think they're building towards something pretty good down there with Phil Neville. I think that there's just too much working right now. Too many pieces changing. The defense not quite there where it is going to need to be against NYCFC. Tyler Magno has looked really good and has played pretty well over the last couple of games, which is crucial since they lost Tati. They haven't looked the same since Tati, but I think this team is just too talented to lose to a Miami team, especially wherever they're going to play this game, not in Miami. I think this is Gonzalo's last game. He's retiring after the year. And then Miami's got the 3 DP spots like we talked about in the live stream. It's going to be really important that they fill those with young but budding talent, where I think, this Miami team is somebody in the East that I think next year could really make some noise. But this year, I just don't think it's there. So I'm going to go NYCFC. I'm going to go 2-1. I was going to go 1-0, but I think Miami will score. So I'm going to go 2-1 NYCFC.
That was one of the things I was thinking of, like 2-1, maybe Miami a score, but I was like, I'm going to go 2-0. All right, so let's get to Red Bull New York and FC Cincinnati, the 4 and 5th seeds. I'm going to go here and say Cincinnati wins this on the road. Let's go 3-2.
All right.
Reason why Cincinnati's been scoring like crazy, but I feel like they also give up some goals every once in a while. Their goal differential, like they give up 56 goals this year. So I could totally see them giving up some dumb goals and then their inexperience making it almost can we hold on? Like we had a 3-1 lead or we had a 3-0 lead and now they scored 2. Like, can we hold on? That's how I can kind of envision that playing out.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cincinnati as well. I just feel like Red Bull's just not in great form. I think Cincinnati's going to be going in on a high, probably higher than any team that's in this Eastern Conference right now. Like this Cincinnati win that they had over DC, and yes, I know it's lowly DC, but when you score that many goals and you've played as well as you can and you've made it into the playoffs for the first time in your franchise's history, and you're going to be backed by, I'm assuming these Red Bull fans are going to be shocked by how many Cincinnati fans show up to their stadium to root on this Cincinnati squad. I'm looking forward to this. I think it has the tendency to be kind of a chippy game, which I think that'll be exciting. I do think there's going to be a lot of goals in it just because these two teams, I think when they do kind of lock horns, I think it'll be Cincinnati can't defend and will give up a lot of goals, but they'll have to score a lot to kind of compensate for giving up those. I'm going to go, Jordan. I'm going to go 2-2 and a penalty shootout win for Cincinnati, just because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know like how many goals are scored. We could be totally wrong, and it's a 0-0 game and be boring. But I'm just assuming that both these teams will score. But I'm assuming that it's also going to be really tight, and that Cincinnati's going to have to pull it out with, again, like I said, three really good penalty takers in Lucho, Brenner, and Brandon Vasquez. So I guess we'll see. But I think Cincinnati does pull it off in a penalty shootout.
Interesting. Okay. Let's go to the West. We kind of just talked about it a little bit here. But we have, 3 games there? We got 3 games here. So then we forgot that there's 2 more games on Monday, which are on FS1, the 17th. Those times are not scheduled yet. So we will find out then where that goes. And then Thursday, we'll talk about that after those playoff games. So we'll probably record on Tuesday the 18th. That's what I'm thinking here. Let's go to the West. Let's start it the way we did before. Austin and RSL, the 2 seed versus the 7. I'm going to go ahead and say Austin wins this 3-0. I was going to say 3-1, but I feel like, I don't know, RSL seems like they can struggle on scoring sometimes. So they're going to be away. They're going to be in a huge atmosphere. I think Austin's probably scores, 10 minutes are in, and then it just starts unleashing the beast.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, I think, same thing. I think RSL will get one back. I'm going to go 3-1 Austin. I do think, like you said, Jordan, I think they'll get a goal within the first 10 minutes. Like you said, I think that it's just waiting to happen. Like, this place is ready to blow the roof off.
Yes.
And I just feel like this is going to be it. Like, if I had to pick a dark horse in this whole thing, and they're not really a dark horse, but I had to pick somebody that I think has a really good chance of winning that not many people, I think, will choose to win it, it's going to be Austin. Like, I think people are going to naturally gravitate towards LAFC and Philly. Yeah. Maybe even like a dark horse such as a team like Montreal. But this one, I think it's Austin. Like, I think Austin defends well enough. I think they can score with anybody. And I think that if you have to play in Austin, which I think you might have to if you're going to go through the West, it's going to be really tough because I do think LAFC will get bounced. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, that's my prediction. I think Austin is just too good, too much firepower, and RSL can't score. So that's my prediction.
Yes, Austin is going to be like Q2 Stadium is going to be like if anybody watched the Rings of Power this past week when the water got added to the volcano and Mount Doom erupted. That's what it's going to be like when they the lid's going to blow off of that place if they score in a playoff game. Okay, so we got the 3 seed versus 6 seed, Dallas versus Minnesota. I'm sorry to do this, Minnesota fans. Sorry, Jack and AJ. I'm going to have to go with Dallas. I'm going to go 2-1 FC Dallas.
All right. 2-1 FC Dallas. I
almost wanted to say 3, but then I felt like I'm saying 3 all the time. So I'm going to go 2-1.
All right. Yeah, I just think Minnesota just hasn't looked great. I think Dallas has, again, firepower that could take them far in the playoffs, and I think they defend well enough to kind of keep Minnesota at bay. Just because when Reynoso's not doing anything, then Minnesota's typically not doing anything. Fragapane can change games, but I just don't see it, especially in Dallas. I think Dallas wins this 2-0. I just don't see Minnesota scoring in Dallas. So, Adrian Heath, you should be fired. All right. Galaxy and Nashville, Jordan, who you got?
This is the tough one, isn't it?
This is tough, yeah.
I already see who you picked. I got.
Huh?
You picked, never mind. I
didn't write it down yet.
I read LAG as Logue, so I thought that was you. All right. I am going to say. Now I see who you said I'm picking. Are you picking for me? Jeez. This is tough.
Yeah, this one's really hard. Like the other 4 or 5, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like Cincinnati feels stronger.
To me, both of these teams are so inconsistent at times that like it's which one shows up, right? Like,
That's
is it
a
gonna
really good
be
point.
is it gonna be the LA is it gonna be the LA Galaxy team that like showed up today and
Hmm.
scored goals, or is it gonna be the LA Galaxy team that like
Looks like a
can't put
shell.
passes together?
Yeah.
I am going to go ahead and say that Nashville's run ends here. LA Galaxy are going to win this game. I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-0 victory for LA Galaxy. Do you like the fake out there?
Yeah, I thought you were going a different direction there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm going Nashville, just because anytime you've ever betted against the Galaxy, it's not worked out well for you. So I'm gonna go opposite with you, and I'm gonna say the Galaxy. Your Galaxy prediction this year was good. You
It
said they'd
was.
be a lot better this year. Last year, not so
They made
much.
the playoffs. I was right with that.
But I'm gonna say Nashville only because I think Walker Zimmerman matchup with Chicharito is not going to go well for Chicharito. And if that doesn't go well, then I don't see this Galaxy team going very far. And I don't know. Even if it is at Dignity, I'm going with Nashville. I got to have an upset somewhere, right? Like it's got to happen.
Yeah.
Eventually. So I think
Did
this
we
is
pick all the favorites the rest of the way?
we did. Well, no, Cincinnati.
No,
Actually.
Cincinnati was an upset.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm going to go with both 5s just in case, because usually the 4-5 is statistically the one, obviously, that's got the higher chance of not being what we think. So yeah, let's go.
Right.
I'm gonna go Nashville, and I'm gonna go 1-0. I'm gonna say it's gonna be pretty boring.
All right, Oscar, calm down. Okay.
Do we want to do an MLS Cup winner just because we can?
We can do that. Yeah. I think
I don't want to. I'm not gonna do round by round because.
But I want to just check real quick before. Is that all of them? Right. That's all.
Yeah. That's
all
all.
right. Let's take a look at where the East finished and what we had predicted. Let's do that real quick. So, Logan, you got the Union correct. I want to commend you for that. Union number 1 on the East. Logan had NYCFC 2nd, Revs 3rd, Atlanta 4th, Orlando 5th, Toronto 6th, Montreal 7th. But you did have Montreal and Orlando in the playoffs and NYCFC. You got 4 of the 7 playoff teams. Right? You were wrong on Revs, Atlanta, Toronto. And then you had RBNY, Crew, DC, Chicago, Miami, Cincy, Charlotte. I had NYCFC winning the East. I was wrong. Union 2nd, Revs 3rd, Atlanta 4th, Orlando 5th, Toronto 6th, the Crew 7th. I got 3 of the playoff teams right. So you win the Eastern Conference predictions, Logan. I'll give you that much.
Yes. West will be a disaster.
Let's look at the West. We both had Sounders number 1. Wrong. You had Nashville number 2. I had Nashville 4th. Nashville finished 5th.
You did a lot better than me.
3rd for me. You had them 5th, so I kind of have the edge there. We both had Sporting at 2nd and 3rd. They're out. We had Portland 4th and 5th. They're out. We had Minnesota at 6th. That's the 6th seed, right?
Yeah, it is.
We nailed it.
Look at that. We are so good.
I had the Galaxy as the 7th seed. You had the Galaxy missing. We got one right in that. We nailed the prediction of Minnesota.
Look at that. We are Minnesota.
Tweet this out.
Right.
Our MVP is probably the MVP that'll get it. That's Hani Mukhtar. We picked Hani Mukhtar. We're probably right. We're wrong on Supporter Shield.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out MLS Cup. Our original predictions before we predict right now. Logan had Seattle, and I had the Philadelphia Union. So we are ready now. One of the teams that have made it are MLS champion. I picked first the last time. I'll let you pick first for this prediction.
All right. I think this might be a boring podcast just because I'm going with the Union. I just think, Jordan, this year they just been last year they had this moment where I thought they were going to win it, and then COVID happened. It was okay, this team is clearly better than everybody else in this playing field, and it's not even close. I don't think the Union would have made it close at all last year. They'd have snapped anybody's neck that got across them. This year they have it, and I don't care if Alejandro Bedoya is healthy or not. I just think that this team has it. Like I don't know what it is. Might be Jim Curtin. Might be the fact that this team is just basically the roster from last year. It just with Gazdag, who's arguably an MVP in this league. I don't see any other team getting anywhere close to him. Like as well as Montreal's playing, I just don't think you can't do that to a Union team, a defense that is so stout that you just break them. This is not that team, and LAFC and Montreal are going to rely on that. Same with Austin. They rely on their attack to be able to break them. But then you switch around and go, okay, well, all their defenses are pretty I think what am I trying to say? Vulnerable. Their attacks, Austin's, LAFC's, Montreal's especially, I think are definitely vulnerable to this Union attack that is very, very good. LAFC's got a pretty decent defense, but I mean, stack them up. Philly will run through Montreal's defense. Philly will run through Austin's defense. So I don't know. I don't see this going well for LAFC because LAFC Supporter Shield statistically never going to win MLS Cup. So I always just count them out automatically, even though they might be one of the best teams here. So yeah, I'm going Union. Jimmy Curtin wins it all. Paxton Aronson shines like a star next year, and then he'll leave. That's my prediction.
I didn't ask for that prediction.
That's what you get with them. That's
Look,
what you get.
This is what I'm going to say. I would love to pick somebody else at this point.
Yeah.
But I've already picked the Union. I can't back out now or else people will be like, you never believed in us. It's the Union, MLS Cup champs. That's what I picked at the beginning of the season. That's what I'll stick with as we go into the playoffs. Ask me again in a few weeks. But that's where I'm going with that. Golden Boot. Hani Mukhtar won the Golden Boot. We had... we were both wrong. Don't have to mention that.
If Rui Diaz would have been healthy and they'd have been good, he would have easily competed. But
maybe
Morongo wasn't even close. So, yikes! I was going to pick Daniel Gazdag, to be honest with you, but
oh yeah,
yeah.
So we're still waiting for them to announce the times. Let me just try to check one last time before we get ready to get out of here.
Looks like they only just tweeted a bracket.
Yeah.
I do. I think it'll be a lot of coordinating with MLB.
Well, it might not matter. The Padres are up on the Mets right now.
Well, what about the Yankees? Like
Citi Field. Citi Field might be opening up here. In a
little bit. That's right. Okay, gotcha. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a heart. Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jard. I think we're getting ready to wrap it up here. We got a long postseason coming up here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Those games start on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. That's what this first round's in. We told you where to find those games. Saturday, we don't know who yet, but Univision for both of those games at 12 and 3. Then we have on Sunday on ABC 3 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have it right here. Hold on. 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock. ABC 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock ESPN. Monday. Don't know the times, but both those games are on FS1, and I would assume probably a 7 and a 7 and a 10. Or what my thoughts are there. All right, anything else before we get out of here, Logan? Anything that we didn't touch on that you want to touch on before we get out of here?
No, I'm excited for the playoffs. The good thing is after the playoffs, we get a break and we don't really have anything else coming up. So, but seriously,
we got the World Cup coming up here.
Check out our coverage. We're going to be covering it. So, that'll be a lot.
And if Logan ever does the Sporkle quizzes, we'll get those videos up.
Yeah, it's debatable. So,
All right. If you want to follow us or like us or subscribe to us at Stateside Show on all the platforms. If you're looking on YouTube, just search Stateside Soccer Show and you'll find us. Hope everyone has a great rest of their, well, this post on Monday. So your weekend's over. But I hope everyone looks forward to the playoff games this upcoming weekend. And we'll catch you Tuesday the 18th, recapping the first round. Scary. Like 6 teams are already going to be knocked out by the time we record next. Scary, but very excited.